Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, friends. Happy Friday. Sorry I'm late. That's just kind of who I am. Morning, Kat. How are you? How was your bougie ass admin day lunch yesterday? Tell us all about it. Did you end up getting $20 salad? Do share. Hi, Dej. Good afternoon. It was food. Fair. Yup. I would hope so. I hope it was edible. No. Ew, no. Was it too much dressing? It was like a real... Yeah. Oh, man. That's annoying. So it's like, yeah. Blech. I'm sure texturally that was a lot. Just putting these on. I am experiencing a sinus pressure headache. Currently a low level sinus pressure headache. So I'm hoping the drugs kick in soon. But that's why, you know, if I look and sound and feel a little disheveled, that is why. It's like they yanked salad right. Oh, ew. Yeah. Bleh. No. So it was like the lettuce itself was moist. They didn't, you know, they needed a salad spinner. They obviously didn't have a salad spinner. Did you guys ever have one of those growing up? Where it was basically like a container and there was a basket that rotated and you, like, I don't know, maybe there's automatic ones, but we had a handheld one. And so you would obviously, like, rinse the lettuce. I'm sure you could probably use it with other vegetables. And then, yeah, and then you hand crank it and it spins the basket and, like, you know, what is it? I'm sure the science has all of the water get displaced in the spinning. I know it's probably a specific scientific term that is escaping my brain. You have one now. That's amazing. I used to take my lettuce washing job lettuce drying job so seriously as a child. I don't even know. We didn't even have salad that often, but I remember being so excited for being the one who got to use the lettuce dryer.
as a kid, and your goal would be to try to like make it spin as fast as you can, and then if you got the momentum going, you could let go, and then the basket would just continue to spin and do the work. And I was always like, yeah, like I'm so strong and tough. Yeah, bring back the salad spinners. So obviously this bougie restaurant did not have one, which is unfortunate, because then you had wet lettuce, which is an awkward thing. I also just shoved saline solution up my nose, so if you find me dabbing my schnoz, that's why. That is why. I'm trying not to drip saline solution all over myself. But yeah, hello. It is a bit of a return to form today. I feel like we're going back to the basics. We're in OG territory today, because I can't remember the last time we cross-stitched together. I genuinely don't know. It was obviously working on this and starting this, but it's been a minute. It has been a while. So we're gonna get back into just some OG crafty crafts today. I'm still waiting to see what's happening with my my cross-stitching software, because I canceled the subscription because it went from like $10. I think it was $10. It was less than that. It was like less than $10 for the year, and it's gone up to like 18. And I was like, that's a lot. That's a lot. I don't know if I want to do that. So, hi Nunze, good afternoon. How are you? But yeah, so the subscription's been canceled, but as of right now, I've not been deprived use of my charts. I don't know if I go to like upload a new cross-stitching chart, if that's where I'm going to encounter the you need to pay us $17 situation. But I don't know. I'm just going to try to not have to worry about it for the near future, and then until it becomes a problem, basically. Could go to friend to sign my passport form. Oh, amazing. Oh, I'm glad your friend was able to get that sorted for you. Hopefully it's not too long of a turnaround time to get that sorted. Oh, getting your front tires changed, getting realigned, getting some stuff. That should be, hopefully that'll be quite quick. Like, you know, you won't be waiting around too long at the garage, the car garage. Hopefully, yeah, hopefully. That would be really stupid if they didn't. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe in my sinus congested state, maybe cross stitch wasn't the best idea, because I'm going to be counting so much more and having the absolute, like, who knows? Whole new tires, got MOT to do as well. Oh, wow. Yeah, that's true. That's annoying. You're like, all of these things, and I would like to, it's like, you know, it's like those necessary evils, but you're like, I would much rather have lots of money to spend at the con. You know what I mean? Oh, that's good. That's good that they can do their you can get your MOT done from them. That's nice. Yeah, it's so interesting to me. So if you guys don't know, like, basically all of the cars in the UK, every year they have to have this MOT. So it's basically you have to bring your car into a certified car garage for them to check over everything and make sure your car is still considered roadworthy. And if it's not, then you get, I don't know if you get fined. You just can't drive it, and then you have to get all those changes fixed before they can, like, sign it off again. And that was never something that we had to do in Canada. So every year we have to pay for somebody to be like, you can still legally drive this car. Which I think is good in a way, because then you don't have people driving with, like, their wing mirrors hanging off and, like, massive cracks across their windshield and things like that, which absolutely was a thing back in my hometown. So as much as it's a pain if, like, there's a small issue, But, like, we had full-on cracks across our windshield. Like, there's people who are just using duct tape to keep things attached to their vehicles, you know, bumpers and side mirrors and stuff like that. So I don't think any of those vehicles would have passed. So it's not something that happens. Yeah. There's a cluster on the roof. Oh, that's nice. Oh, that'll be nice. That'll nice little treat for yourself. That's good. That's nice. It's better than just, like, sitting in the garage or, like, hanging around the garage. I don't know if it's, like, if you take them, because some of the, or at least in my hometown, I think we had a Honda, and the dealership also had the garage attached to it. And so if you were taking your car in for a service, you could wait in their, like, almost like showroom waiting room, and they had a coffee machine and some comfy chairs. So you could, like, sit there and have a coffee and, like, wait for your stuff to get sorted. Which was nice, but I don't know if local garages have those sort of accommodations here. I feel like if it's just a garage, it's not gonna happen. Okay. I was charging my little pen. Hopefully it's charged enough, because we need to keep track of these stitches so I don't get confused. 2, 1, 2, 3. No. Yes. Okay, hang on. We're already off to a great start. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Okay, cool. Sort of, kind of, maybe. All right. So hopefully we can, because I don't know. Again, it's been a while, so I am not entirely sure. Because I was like, oh, maybe we can get, you know, the hand. I would like to think we can get more than the hand filled in today. But also, I always vastly overestimate how much I can get accomplished during stream time, so who knows? But yeah. The weather's been absolutely miserable out today. I've been freezing. Well, I wasn't. And then Shadow and I went for a forest adventure. Not the forest, went to the field. So the field and the forest are two different places. We go to the forest usually on, like, a Tuesday, Wednesday, and then we'll go to the field on a Friday. And the Amazon Echo, or the Alexa, told us that it was gonna rain. There would be chance of rain today. And half the time what happens is I wear my raincoat and then I get overheated and grumpy and frustrated. So I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna just wear a hoodie and it'll be fine. And it was for the most part, but it's like, it was pretty cold. Like, it was not hardcore torrential rain, but it was not just like a misty rain. So by the end of it, I was a little bit like, okay, I'm done. I'm over this. And so now it's been really hard to warm up since then. But I'm feeling better now. It's all coming back to me now. Things are doing well. I hope they're careful with my pink rims as they're plastic. Yeah. Hopefully they don't fuck around with that. If not, I don't know what would happen. Like, could they be forced to reimburse you if they break something of yours? You know what I mean? I would assume so, but I'm not sure. It's been raining here a lot. Oh, it was so nice you fell asleep. Oh, that's really nice. Sometimes the sound of rain can be really peaceful. Whether it was last year today. Well, isn't that nice? No, that's amazing. I love that. I do find we're getting more, like, nice days. Today just feels like especially kind of stormy and blah. But those days feel more than few and far between. Whereas I feel like, you know, February, March, it's like gray and rainy and shitty in the UK so much more frequently than it is nice and sunny. So we're getting there. It's slow progress, but we're getting there. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. I'm just creating the outline of the ghost arm. I didn't even Phantasma's downstairs. I should have brought her up. You guys all know what she looks like at this point, but she's downstairs right now. Oh, exciting. I finished 2 of the 8 decoupage chests that we were working on yesterday. So I managed to complete 2 of them. They're like fully done. I put the gold on them. They look really cute. I still got a long way to go, but we're getting there. It's slow moving, but it's happening. But yeah, it should be good. The only thing though is I definitely do need to, it's getting to the point now where I've looked at my decoupage sheet and I have like half of one sheet left. So I'm like, yeah, girl, you gotta go to Hobbycraft and pick up the rest. I'll do it. I'll get to it. Maybe tomorrow during the day I'll swing by and pick them up, because I probably should have gone again, but I don't know. I just didn't want to leave the house today, guys. I just didn't. So I didn't. But yeah, here, actually, let me do this and then I will show you. I will show you the completed ones. Let me just... pop that there. These are all half stitches. I'm marking them off like they're full stitches, but they're definitely not. But okay, let me go and get one of them to show you what they look like. See? So they're all decoupaged, and then I put the white border, and then I covered them in the gold. So then hopefully what we're going to do is we're going to have the kids' names hopefully here and on the top here. So I'm very excited about it. The only thing though I've noticed is that because I've been painting them and like articulating the box, it doesn't shut all the way now, which is okay. I guess if I really wanted to, we could like get a little latch or something like that. It's more for me that like you can see a very, very thin edge of the cardboard that I've not painted. And I guess I could go in and like paint the whole lid, but like it's getting to the point now where I just have to be like, Tasha, it's fine. Like the oldest one who's gonna see this is 6. And I like really, like it's one of those things where I'm like, how much effort are we gonna put into these? Because we could put so much. But yeah, so I think I just need to accept the fact that they're gonna be open a little bit, and that's fine. Listen, Dej, we don't got time for that shit. These are supposed to be done. I need to be in clean my house mode next week. Cause I got family showing up on Saturday. And we don't got time. We could, but yeah. I appreciate that though. Honestly, the way that the 3D printer has been behaving lately, I don't think it's good for us to give any sort of other 3D printing tasks for the reception to the printer, because it damn near almost killed us printing the last 2 centerpieces because shit just kept breaking and not working, and I don't want that kind of stress. Thank you though. Yeah, I'm excited about them. I'm really happy because originally I was getting really grumpy because I didn't find the gold was like opaque enough, and then I had to go through and do like the white layer and stuff like that. And I'm sorry, I just like jumped down your throat, Dej. It was a great suggestion. I appreciate you, but I am a little stressed. I just want, you missed it. You missed yesterday where I was going in to my whole spiel about my need for routine and my need for organization and me wanting to have all of the reception stuff done by the end of this week so that next week is just prep for family stuff. But take a deep breath and blow. Yeah. But yeah, no, they're really cute and I'm happy with them. And like I said, I'm really looking forward. We have gold Cricut material, gold Cricut vinyl for the lettering that's gonna go on here. And so I think once those start coming together, I'm gonna be really excited. There you go. Let me put that away. But yeah, so 2 are completely done. 3 still need to be completely like they're not fully decoupaged, and another 3 of them have varying coats of the white paint on the ridges. So we're sort of in 3 different stages of completion right now, but we're getting there. We're getting there. We're trucking through. I'm feeling, well, I say I'm feeling less stressed, and then I just, had a moment, but it ebbs and flows. It ebbs and flows. I know that things will get done. I know, like, there is time for things. I keep, like, feeling like, I guess because, I don't know, I get stressed out about people coming to visit and the house being, like, a quote-unquote mess. Which is fun. It just needs, like, a hoover and a dust, which actually won't take long. I do kind of want to do a bit of a deep clean of the bathrooms, though. Just because, I don't know, I feel like I should. But it can be a little bit, I don't know, like, it's one of those where I get in my own head, even though this is family and they don't care. Oh, before my parents came to visit, this was last year, it was their first time coming over, since we moved into our house. And I got so, like, in my own head about, like, just dumb stuff. Like, one of the things was that I was like, because back then, obviously the upstairs shower wasn't out of commission. And we have, like, a tub downstairs. And it has the capacity to be a shower. But, like, we weren't using it very often. And I had this thing where I'm like, oh, like, what if, because our shower's kind of janky, what if my parents, like, don't like our shower and they'd rather prefer to shower downstairs, so we have to get a shower curtain for downstairs. And, like, that was so not necessary, but I just got so, like, I want to give them all of these options and make sure that, like, they have all the creature comforts that they need, and they rocked up and they were like, calm down. We can use your shower. Like, we've, like, what? But yeah, just little things like that. So I have to sort of, like, take a deep breath and remind myself, like, this is family. They don't give a shit. Like, as long as they have a place to stay, and sleep and they're comfortable, it'll be okay. Though, I am thinking that probably, like, this next week, we might have to try, because we have a little latch on our spare room door. For guests, because obviously Shadow runs the house, and so he comes and goes wherever he wants. But I know that my parents, they have, like, allergies and stuff like that, right? So I was like, well, we don't want Shadow to be jumping on their bed and getting into their stuff and potentially, like, causing, allergy symptoms and things like that while they're trying to sleep, right? And then also, too, for privacy purposes and stuff like that. So we put some latches on the door. So we have a lock on the front, lock on the back, just to make sure, if they don't want him in there, they can keep him out of there. But, of course, when no one's visiting, he actually spends a lot of time in that spare room, because we have, like, a pull-out couch on there. So it's currently in its, like, couch form. And if he's not in bed with us in the evening, he's more likely in the spare room than he is on the futon in the green room, like this room here. So I think we might have to, like, lock the door this week to the spare room, just so he can get used to the fact that, like, he's probably not going to be allowed in there whenever he wants for the next, like, month, basically. So that will be interesting. I have to talk to Liam about that, just to see his perspective on it, because I know when my friend Jen came to visit, and before we went on our little adventures, she obviously stayed the night, and it was like midnight. We had all gone to bed, and he started pawing at her door because he wanted to get into the room because he knew someone was there and wanted to, like, say hi. And we're like, dude, like, she's trying to sleep. It's like it's like midnight. You can't be doing that. You know what I mean? Probacus, thank you very much. Yeah, I'm meant to wear them for distances, but I have a bit of, like, a sinus pressure headache situation going on right now. So I find wearing the glasses helps with the, like, eye strain tension of it all. But thank you. I quite enjoy, I like how I look in them, if that makes sense. But yeah, I hope you're having a good day. I hope life is going well for you. But yeah, so that will be interesting. Shadow's so used to having his full reign of the house that when you put limit, like even to the point where, like, and I think a lot of dogs do this, if you don't lock the door, because we don't have, our doors, like, our doors aren't, like, fully ones that you, like, have to open to latch shut, right? They're, like, pressure ones. Like, the doorknobs don't even rotate. They're just kind of there as handles. And so, if you don't lock the door when you're going to the bathroom, and Shadow wants to get in the bathroom, he will full on, like, bat the door open and come in. To the point where if I forget, like, I need to lock the door, I don't know, half the time I just don't even close the door anymore, because I'm like, he's gonna come in and out anyway. But, oh, perfect! You have a pizza. And you're ready to devour it. Oh, amazing. I will take a look at the pizza in just a minute. That's amazing. But yeah. So to the point where we have a, I guess they call it like a water closet. We have a bathroom downstairs. But the entrance to the bathroom is literally like, if I'm sitting on the toilet and the door is open, I can look right at my front door to my house. Do you know what I mean? And there's like we have 2 doors, but if someone were to come in the first door and like look through the little window, they could see into the bathroom. You know what I mean? And like vice versa sort of thing like that, right? And so what'll happen is with that one, I'm like, I don't want to keep the door fully open. So I'll open it, I'll leave it ajar to enough where Shadow can come in and out, because sometimes I'll close it. Again, I'll close it, but I'll forget to lock it. And he'll bat the door, and then the whole thing will swing open. And half the time, he bats the door, walks in, turns around and walks out. And I'm like, cool, if the mailman comes, they fully can see me going to the bathroom right now. Thank you very much, Shadow. So it's a very, it's this thing where I'm like, okay. So I strategically leave the door a Shadow-sized amount open so he can slide in and out, but I'm still covered, so that in the event that we get a delivery or a mailman comes, I'm not just like, he can't see me pooping. But again, sometimes I forget and I'm sitting there like, shit, like I'm literally, okay, I hope nothing happens. The door used to be near the toilet in our condo, and Maggie would stick her paw through the really and put it on your foot. Aww. She's like, don't worry, I'm here too. I'm here too for you, don't worry. Oh my god. Probacus, let's take a look at this Za, my friend. Let us see. Let's check this Za. Oh, so I officially met the new neighbors yesterday. So after stream, ooh, that looks real good. That looks real nice. It's like a flatbread pizza. Guys, check this out. Check this out. So what are the toppings? What are the toppings? This looks like some black olives. Do we have some mushrooms here maybe? And are we doing like matzah, or what's the cheese situation here? Feta cheese. Oh, feta and Gouda? Oh my god, that sounds incredible. Yeah, tomato sauce obs. Sometimes people do barbecue bases though. Have you ever done a barbecue base pizza? They're not bad. But I do love a good OG tomato sauce. Oh my god, I love that. Gouda and feta, that sounds really nice. That sounds fabulous. She was declawed before we knew what that meant. Oh, and she's, aww. Yeah. You pair it with chicken. Oh, okay, you don't put the chicken on the pizza, or do you? Yeah, it sounds and looks crazy tasty. That's awesome. I love a good, like, homemade pizza. We get these pizza bases from the grocery store, and then we can put all of our funsies toppings on it. I love a good, like, Serrano ham or, like, Parma ham situation. I mean, okay. Oh, that's cool with white sauce. Yeah. I've never had, like, an Alfredo, like, a white sauce based pizza. I've done pesto bases, and I've done barbecue bases and tomato bases. But I know, like, you can do different bases. But I've just... Yeah, oh, that's awesome. You made the base yourself. That's really good. Yeah, it looks kind of like a flatbread style in terms of the base. But that's really good. That's nice. It's only because I don't have the patience to make gluten-free stuff all the time. So, but that's really cool. I like that. It's probably better and healthier for you to have the homemade version. And I mean healthier in the sense that, like, usually for things to be preserved, there's, like, F tons of sodium in them, which can then, I don't know, lead to problems later on in life. Allegedly, apparently, it's what I've been told. It's what my parents do. My parents are like, it's not, oh, okay, yeah. Oh, yeah, like a thicker crust. We love a thick crust. Thick with 2 C's crust. Chonky crust. That's awesome. Okay. Yes. Okay. Cool. Let's fill this in. We've done some half pieces. I don't know why. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, so then it's less, yeah, because nothing's worse than, I guess if you like a really saucy pizza, if you have a thin crust, and sometimes what happens is the crust is so thin that the sauce and the toppings weigh it down, and you pick it up, and then it, like, it just, like, deflates, or it, like, hangs down, and you have to, like, fold it in order to, like, keep the toppings in an upright position. Yeah, man. Actually, tonight I have, I found this thing online. I did a pizza or a food order, and they have a new, every once in a while I check out, like, what the gluten-free frozen stuff is, and I talked about how I had mac and cheese the other day, but I found mini calzones, gluten-free mini calzones, like frozen ones. I'm gonna have those for dinner tonight, and I'm quite excited to see what they are. I know sometimes if it's, like, a frozen thing, sometimes it can, you know what I mean, like, you're not basing it off of a restaurant-style calzone or anything. You're, like, the metrics for frozen food versus the metrics for restaurant or homemade food, the scales are different, you know what I mean? So, with that understanding, I'm like, okay, this is what, you know what I mean? But I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it. I'm a sucker for, like, a new fun thing. Like, especially if it has some fun packaging, I'm a sucker for a snack that has a funky, eye-catching packaging. And if I can eat it, like, if it's gluten-free, I'm like, yes, please. Yeah. Same with drinks, too. I always like a fun drink. Though I need to be careful lately, because a lot of the, like, fun, interestingly advertised drinks I find at the grocery store are either energy drinks, which I cannot be messing with, or there's a lot more now where they're doing, like, CBD drinks, which I'm, like, I've never had one. I'm sure it would probably help, like, with sleep or things like that. But, like, I'm already medicated to manage things. I don't think I need to throw CBD into the mix. So I get a bit concerned when I'm like, this looks cool. And I'm like, is this going to overhype caffeinate me? Or is this going to, like, completely zonk me out? So I gotta be careful. Yeah. Usually what happens, and it's, like, they're in the health food section usually, the, like, weird, funky, advertised drinks. I don't know why this isn't. Yeah. I do like a smoothie. Sometimes those, I don't know, like, there's certain brands that are packagings and stuff like that, but that's different. That's like if you go to a smoothie place, or you, like, would make something, you know? My husband has told me it's annoying how fast I go to sleep. He'll be talking. Really? That's amazing. That is a skill. Kudos to you. To be fair, Liam does talk about, like, how I do find I fall asleep quite a bit. Or not quite a bit. Obviously, I do fall asleep quite a bit in general in life because I sleep. But I mean, I fall asleep faster than him usually, which is it's annoying though, because Liam talks in his sleep. He's an infamous sleep talker, and there's like some really good family stories of some of the things that he's said in his sleep. And the problem is, I fall asleep before him, so the chances of me hearing him talk in his sleep are so much lower. And so it's sad. Every once in a while I'll catch it though, but then I'll be half asleep and I forget to write it down and I forget in the morning. So, yeah. Yeah, no, I do like a good smoothie, but I also feel like I need a better blender in which to do it. I've only ever had issues with a lot of sugar. Yeah. Yeah, I get restless legs as well. That's why I stopped drinking caffeine after 4. Yeah. To ignore people talking to me while I'm trying to... Yeah. That's good, though. You're like, listen, it is sleepy time now. It is shut up time. It is nappy time. Wow, you're always a zombie. That's rough. Honestly, I do know some people that, like, really struggle with sleep. Thankfully, I'm not one of those people. Yeah. Do you find, I don't know, I guess, because at a certain point, I guess people get, if it's like a chronic thing where you're not sleeping a lot, you kind of get used to it and I guess are able to function. But I know for me, like, if I'm not getting, like, 7 to 9 hours of sleep consistently, I'm a mess. Oh, that's difficult. You're one of those where you need to have, like, you wouldn't be able to sleep where I live. I live right near a highway. You used to get taken to concert. I went, oh, okay. Oh, cool. That's so funny. I love that. I know, I remember watching a documentary years and years ago about the power of music with, like, kids and brain function and stuff. And it was about, they did, like, a study, or they followed the lives of these 2 pregnant women. And one of the women was a classical violinist, and the other one really liked going to rock concerts. And so when their babies were born, the music that they were listening to in utero, in their mother's stomachs, is the music that calmed them down when they were distressed. So when the baby was, like, the baby who had gone to rock concerts in utero, when they were crying and were upset, like, the people, you know, the documentary people, the research people would put classical music on, because you would initially, like, associate classical music with calm and all this kind of stuff. And the baby was, like, having none of it, put on the rock music, went straight to sleep. And I think that's so cool. I think that's so interesting. Major with earplugs. Yeah. Can't fall asleep without earplugs. Yeah, I guess that, because I know some people who, they can't fall asleep without, like, white noise. So they need to have a fan on, or they need a white noise machine, or they need something like that. Which I think is also, it's kind of like the similar problem. It's like this, it's like a, you know, a different concern, but kind of the, what is it they call it? The same, different side of the same coin. That's the term. Where, like, you either need complete silence or you need very specific sounds. Because it's like, you would just think, oh, you know, it's just white noise. You just need background noise. Like, that could be anything. But it's like, it needs to be a specific sound that then is allowing them to fall asleep. Which is interesting. Because I feel like that can also be just as difficult to come across and to manage than, like, complete silence as well. I guess so I can listen to metal. Yeah, that's true. It doesn't, like, amp up your system, like, amp up your, you know, your, I don't know, hormonal, and I don't know what the term is, your nervous system. It can't amp up your nervous system because you were so used to, like, being a child surrounded by that. That's really cool. So now we get to play the game where we fill in Phantasma's arm. I think what we were trying to accomplish with this, yeah, is finishing the first page. That's kind of where we're at right now. So in order to finish the first page, we need to finish the arm and then go down about halfway to the, so yeah. Because I really want to work on the hat. I'm getting to the point now where I'm like, let's do a different color. But there's only 3 colors. And we've done everything on this page that is a color other than white. So we kind of just need to suck it up and go through it. Yeah. Well, I think that's a thing, because I know when kids are growing up, sometimes parents get really worried. When I know that happened with actually with Liam's aunt, so with Liam's cousins, when they were babies, as soon as they went down to sleep, it was very like, oh my God, you have to be quiet. Don't make the baby be really quiet. You know, don't make a sound. Don't let a pin drop. And because they were so scared of waking up their kids while they were napping, they were like so silent. Then as the kids got older, they still needed that. Whereas I know right now you have other, yeah, exactly. So staying at the same level. So right now, like, Liam's cousin, they've just had a kid and they're trying to get her used to as much sounds as possible. So like they put her down for a nap and they're like, we need to hoover or like vacuum. We're going to do that. And eventually, like, obviously there'll be some teething issues where like the first little while it might not work, but eventually you would hope it gets to a point where it's like, oh yeah, this is fine. I can sleep through this. So that's probably what it was. Is they were like, oh my God, don't make the baby. And now you're a grown-ass adult who needs complete silence to sleep. Yeah. So. But it does. It's kind of like, because the thing is, right? You need a lot. Yeah. Yeah, basically it's your parents' fault. Oh, it was so funny. When I was at uni, when I was at school, we had a unit where we were learning about attachment theory and attachment styles and how, like, the attachment pattern you had with, you know, because of the literature, with your mother is the way it was sort of phrased, but I would argue with your families, the attachment style that you develop with your parents can then inform your relationship attachment styles later on. And so it was so funny. I remember us learning about, like, this sort of theory, right? And I turned to my friend and I was like, oh, so we really are fucked up because of our parents. I'm like, oh, if you have a hard time, you know, expressing emotional intimacy with your partners, is it because you had an anxious attachment style with your mother as a child? And according to this theory, yeah, probably. But I just think that's really funny. But yeah, when you learn about like different attachments, like, yeah, I feel attacked. Oh no. It depends. Like it with anything, like with psychology, it's different things, right? And I do think, well, to be fair, like obviously not in the grand scheme of things, but I think, you know, there is some merit to it. In the sense that the first people you learn to rely on as a child, as a baby, are your caretakers, right? So it is your, you know, your mom, your dad, whoever your primary caretaker is, right? And so if you're growing up and let's say when you're a child or a baby or whatever, and you get upset, and if your parents aren't, you know, take too long to comfort you, or if they even don't comfort you, or you find you have to self-soothe a lot, and then as you get older, you're like, okay, people that are supposed to love me, just because somebody loves me doesn't mean that they're going to take care of my needs, so I need to take care of myself. And so I do think that sometimes the way that you interact with your first relationships in life your first emotional relationships in life, which is with your family members, can inform how that can then impact your relationships later on, right? That's why there's always that joke where people say that they marry their parents, or you run into the risk of turning into your parents. Because if you had a healthy, or even if you had an unhealthy relationship, that's like one of the jokes, right? Where, you know, you seek approval from people that are similar to the people that you were trying to seek approval of growing up or whatever. Like, there's different layers to that. Okay, why am I doing? Yeah. To be fair, though, because it's interesting, there actually are, again, more theories about just because you're born in the same family doesn't necessarily mean that your parents had the same relationship with you as they did with your siblings. You know what I mean? Because you need different things growing up, right? Or, you know, you get different needs expressed, right? So, for instance, what'll happen sometimes is, I think sometimes when they talk about the studies, it's with children who maybe one of the siblings has additional needs, right? And so the parents, rightfully so, have to give more attention to the child who has additional needs. So then what'll happen sometimes is then the other child is like, okay, I need to take care of myself and I need to sort my shit out because my parents are busy taking care of my sibling. And so one then can, so again, same parents, same living situation, but the way that the parents are reacting and raising and interacting with one sibling could be completely different to how they're reacting and raising another sibling. So, just depends, right? This is the only partner I've had that I can actually express my opinions on things. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Oh, 100% it is normal. 100% that's normal. Yeah, but I think it happens even if there isn't an illness. That's just a more exaggerated stance in it, right? Like, it could be the same, it could be something as simple as, like, you know, you have a child who's more extroverted, or even just a child that's more accident prone. You know what I mean? Like, if you have a child that is more of an adventurous risk taker and likes to climb trees, and you have another child who's really shy and would rather sit and color and read a book than, you know, run and jump around. You know what I mean? The way you interact with those kids is going to be different. So your relationship with those kids is going to be different. That's just kind of, you know, that's even like on a smaller scale, even if like any sort of additional illness or disability is a part of that. Yeah. No, 100%. And to be fair, I feel that way as well. Kat, like, I find, and again, I think that also comes back to my own, like, people-pleasing mentality, where I was so afraid of, yeah, having a different opinion. Or, like, I think the other thing, too, is, because I think in a lot of, some of my relationships, I feel like there was a bit of a power imbalance, where I thought the world of these people, and so I almost didn't question that my reality or my things were different to theirs. And so if they would say something, I would almost like take it as gospel of like, well, obviously they're older, they're more mature, they're amazing, that's probably correct, instead of me looking at myself and being like, I don't necessarily believe that, but I don't have the confidence or the skill set or even the words to express my different viewpoint. But yeah. This is true. Honestly, I think, hey man, I used to rake leaves. You ever do that? It was a bit risky when we got a dog later on, you know, because one of the most fun things about like autumn in Canada and North America and stuff like that is like when the leaves fall and you get a lot of leaves and you rake the leaves into big piles and then you jump in them and you throw them around and stuff. It's sort of similar to when you like have a lot of snow and you have to plow your driveways or shovel your driveways, and then you get these big snow mounds and you can jump in them and it's fun. My parents have much affection. Yeah. Well, definitely. I could see that, because you're kind of like, oh, if this is what commitment looks like, and it doesn't look like these two individuals that are my reference point for commitment are enjoying this, I don't think I want to sign up for that. I could definitely see that for sure. And I think as well, yeah, no problem, Probascus. Or Probacus. Yeah, because I was thinking about that too, because I was reflecting as well on, like, when I was going through it and was exploring stuff with my therapist, and I sort of kind of made this realization offhand, which I think maybe was a good thing in some capacity, but I never saw my parents argue or like have discussions. Like, it was one of those things where I think the other reason too why I was afraid to bring up differences and stuff is because I didn't know how to have conflict. Like, I don't know how to, and again, why I struggle with like confrontation and stuff. And I think sometimes when I have a different viewpoint, I can get quite agitated and quite worked up. Because I never had like how to have a proper disagreement modeled for me. And I respect why my parents did that, because if they, you know, were having a disagreement or an argument, I think maybe they had different ways of dealing with that, and maybe it would have been more argumentative, or I think it was a lot of like in the moment being like shutting it down and being like, we can discuss this later, like when, which I think in a way is healthy, to be like, okay, we're really worked up about this issue right now, let's take a minute and then we'll discuss it later. But then I never saw the later discussion, and so I didn't kind of know. It was almost like, oh, we don't have disagreements, or if we do, we need to like be hush-hush about it. And so yeah, I don't think I've ever really learned. So I remember like sometimes, I think like earlier on in my relationship with Liam, like when we would get into disagreements or we would like have discussions, I would get quite upset during them and get quite emotional, and he was just like, you know, it like almost like, yeah, we're having a disagreement, but like it's okay, you know, there's no like, our relationship isn't gonna be over just because we have a disagreement about something. And I'm like, okay, like, I don't know, it's interesting. And again too, I don't blame my parents for choosing to do that, especially if they grew up in families where there was fighting and arguments in front of the kids, and they felt that wasn't helpful for them, to then do the opposite makes sense. You know what I mean? My parents, yeah. Mine fought about money all the time. Yeah. That's tough. That's tough when like people, like when their pride and stuff gets like in the way of something, you know what I mean? And I'm sure it sounds, basically from what you've told me and what I know, it sounds like your mom was setting reasonable boundaries to make sure that he didn't spend your entire family's financial stability situation, you know what I mean? Where it's kind of like, he felt shitty about it, but it's also like, yeah, but bro, you being reckless. So I need to put my foot down because you're gonna buy us out of house and home if I don't. So if like, you know, and I'm like, yeah, okay, cool. Like, I need to infantilize you right now because you're acting like a child. So, like, there's something to be said about like, okay, I'm feeling emasculated and I'm feeling like spoken down to. And I'm like, yeah, if you don't want me to do that, don't act like a child. Like, it sounds kind of shitty, but I find with that sometimes where I'm like, you know, I want to treat people with dignity and treat people with that and stuff like that, but it's like, no, you're acting like a child right now, so I'm sorry, but I need to manage you like a child right now. Yeah, I smoked most of it. Yeah. Yeah, smoking is expensive, isn't it? I wonder, I don't know anything about smoking culture, anything like that, but I wonder if, like, is vaping less expensive? I assume, like, the vapes, like, if you get a real fancy bougie vape, the upfront cost is probably more than, like, a pack of cigarettes, but I don't know, like, the flavors or the nicotines or whatever you're sticking in them, like, how much, if it's comparable, or if it is, like, a cheaper alternative, you know what I mean? I know there was different things that people were trying to justify as it being a better alternative, but I just wonder, like, financially, if it's a better alternative. You're saying not really? No. I'm not really. Yeah. Yeah. That's interesting too, because I know I don't listen to it much anymore, but one of the podcasts, I was listening to a podcast called Bad with Money, and I got a book by the author as well, and they were talking about, can't remember what it was, but it was almost like financial styles and like money styles that you sort of, I don't know, I can't remember what the term was, but it was basically that, where it's like your relationship with money and how you use money and view money is shaped by how you see your parents use money and spend money, right? And again, it's the same thing that happens with like raising kids or relationships as well, right? So you have like, I'm observing you do this thing, and based on how it makes me feel or how I observe it making you feel, I'm either going to continue down that path, whether consciously or unconsciously, or I'm going to make a conscious decision to do the exact opposite or something similar to that. You know what I mean? Because that was one of the things that my parents talked about when they had me and my brother, was that like they moved away from my extended family. It's really interesting because like I can see the benefits of both sides, because I think like Liam's family, they're quite large and they're quite connected. So like his aunts and uncles and like grandparents, they're all, you know, they all helped raise each other, you know, like it takes a village sort of thing. Whereas my parents, they ended up moving like multiple provinces away, so it was just the two of them, and then obviously like the friends that they made and when family would come out to visit them, and so that I could see being incredibly isolating, but also possibly an opportunity to rewrite and break down some of the intergenerational problems that would have been more difficult to unpack and teach differently if we were living next door to my grandparents. You know what I mean? Like I think their whole thing, they joke that they ran away from home. They're back there now, and I think they sometimes wish they could run away again. That's why they're coming to visit me for a month. But that sort of thing where it's like, okay, we are reflecting on how we want to raise our kids, and we do not want to raise them the same way you raised us. And I feel like if you're trying to do that when the people that raised you are in close proximity and maybe helping out with childcare and being more around in those kids' lives, I can see that being a really difficult, potentially a difficult conversation where you have to state some boundaries, or you have to be able to talk to your parents to be like, okay, I get that that's how you did this, but I'm doing this way. And I could see that having varying results depending on the situation, right? So yeah, it will be interesting. Like I find that yeah, just very interesting. Just like family dynamics and like personalities and relationships and like how that all intersects and commingles and whatever is very fascinating to me. Yeah, I'm surprised it turned out okay. Yeah, and that's the thing, right? And I think as well, like, because I know you had mentioned before that there were other people in your life that were positive role models. So even if it's not directly family, sometimes it can be, or it can be found in different places. Like we were, you know, as much as, and the other thing too, though, because again, it is another thing where when you're around family, which I have conflicting viewpoints on, but I guess, who knows? I guess it's because when my parents, when we were growing up, they both had to work and we didn't have family around us. So they had to pay for us to go into childcare, right? Like we went to daycare and stuff like that. And I think sometimes I see with families who have people living near them, like with family who have like grandparents, whatever, living near them, I hope that, or at least for me, like I would never assume if I were to have a child that my in-laws would look after them for me. You know what I mean? If they're able to and they can offer, that's really great. But if that's not an option, I would make sure that I don't know, like, I respect and understand that, right? But I do think as well, though, you know, when you're with close family and family want to help you, like, that's a different thing. What I mean is, because there's definitely people that I know who have a village helping raise their kids, and they need that, and it's amazing, and the people are willing and able to do that, right? And that's incredible. The thing I don't like is my mom has experienced this when she was still working, of a woman being so upset that her mother was going on vacation because then her mother couldn't look after her children for her. And she was like, so like taken aback. Like, what do you mean you're going on holiday? You're my childcare. What do you mean you're not looking after my child and you're going on vacation? And it's like, excuse me. Your parents are not there to become your child carer. You know what I mean? Like, that's, what the fuck? They can have their own lives. If they offer and are available to do so, cool, but never assume that that's a guarantee. You know what I mean? Like, damn. I mean, I had children. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's the thing, right? And that's the thing. And that's the thing that I hope. I hope that people who do have a big safety net recognize how privileged it is to have that. Because like you said, a lot of people don't. A lot of people don't, and a lot of people have to do those different things. And yeah, it's interesting. Or like even just the concept of outsourcing. Because I'm even having a little bit of it as well. With like, it's like a low level version of this, but because even too, like, we had the same thing. So like, again, with, if it wasn't childcare, if my parents wanted a night out, like, we had babysitters, and luckily we had really good neighbors who had like teenage kids that would babysit me and my brother. But you have to outsource. You have to talk to quote unquote strangers and form those relationships and connections, you know, whereas yeah, with family, it's different. And so even like a similar thing, I was talking to my mother-in-law about this because I want to get a dog sitter for Shadow for the reception. Because as much as I think he probably could survive like the 8 hours we're gone, I don't want to be worrying about him during that time. But the thing is, up until this point, we have had family to look after him. But the thing is, you're having a reception, you're inviting all of your family and your friends. So if you're only relying on friends and family to do these things for you, when it comes to a point where you are involving all of those people, all of my dog sitters are coming to my reception. So who's going to take care of my dog? You know what I mean? You have to outsource. And that's a weird feeling if you've not had to do that before. So I can only imagine like what my parents had to sort of do. And that was obviously like before social media and before like literally websites of like, you know, vetted carers and things. You just had to kind of like know people, or you had to ask, or I don't know, man. I don't know how they found some of our babysitters. They were all amazing. But yeah, I wonder how they did that. I do think in a way though it's kind of cool. Like it's difficult, but it's interesting. Because then, because we didn't have family around, a lot of our friends became family, you know? And then I feel like it's I don't know, like in a way you kind of form a different community. Like when you are relying on your neighbors versus relying on family. Because then, I don't know, like it just feels like a different thing. Whereas I find that sometimes if it's always family, it can become very insular. And you're not actually like meeting different people and expanding your horizons, because it's all just this. It's the family, and the family's all that matters, you know? Yeah. And in a way, that's what's happened to me now. Not by, like, I don't know, I guess kind of by default, because as well, too, like, because I think we've talked about this before, like, as you get older, people get busy, right? Like, friends get busy, and it can be difficult. It's this weird thing where, like, I don't know, people become more family-oriented, I think, as they get older and they have young kids and all that kind of stuff. And so I find, like, 'cause that's what I'm even finding, like, we don't even have kids, but I find that because a lot of our friends, they have kids, they're busy, they have stuff going on. If you want to sort of have social interaction, a lot of times it ends up being family, or it's like because you have kids or whatever, like you're watching your family grow and expand, so you have a lot more family related events to go to. Whereas when you're in your like teens and 20s, you know, going to a second grade birthday party is like a massive eye roll, right? Like, oh, I'd rather go hang out with my friends and party until 3 a.m. and like do all that kind of stuff, right? But when you get to a certain point where either you're having kids or you're like an aunt or an uncle to a child when you get older, you're like, oh no, this is what I would rather be doing. Actually, I would much rather be going to a second grade birthday party than going out on a rager with my friends. And also, all my friends are choosing to go to the second grade birthday party, so there actually is no one to rage with right now. Everyone is not rageable. So it will be interesting, because I do know from what my mom and experience and what she sort of told me is it's kind of like once your kids, like basically once you kind of become an empty nester, or your kids kind of become old enough to care for themselves, that's when you sort of can start to explore adult friendships again, because you can go out on weekends away because your kids will be able to look after themselves, or, you know, you can have more of that. Whereas, yeah, for a while it becomes very, very family focused because, you know, you kind of need to. It's out of necessity in a way. But, yeah. I think luckily, like, I'm in quite a, I don't know, I would say quite a privileged position that I find that Liam's family, now my family, are like my closest friends. Like, I joke with Liam that I'm like, you know that your mom's my best friend, right? Like, it's one of those where I'm like, oh, if I'm feeling lonely, like, I'll go hang out with my friends, and it's like my mother and brother-in-law. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, but it'll be really nice because we actually are, like, a bunch of friends of ours are getting together tomorrow, which is really cool because, again, we've not seen everyone for a while, and it'll be nice to see everyone before it's, like, under the sort of celebration pretenses of the reception. So that'll be really cool to see everyone because, yeah, like, it's not like you, I don't know. And then sometimes, to be fair, sometimes I get in my own head about it because I'm always like, I just assume based on, which, again, what is it? Don't assume because it makes an ass out of you and me. Where, like, I just assume based on the few times that, you know, I've reached out, or the few times that my friends have tried to coordinate stuff and people are just busy or they're booked months in advance, I just assume, oh, well, there's no point in me reaching out to see if so-and-so's around this weekend because they're probably already booked up. Because it's funny, because every once in a while, like, I'll talk to Liam and I'll be like, oh my god, like, our friends are so busy all the time, we never see them. And then we, like, hear about our friends meeting up with some of our other friends and stuff like that. And I'm like, shit, maybe we're just bad communicators. Like, maybe we're the problem. Like, maybe the reason we're not seeing our friends is because we're not reaching out to them and they're seeing each other because they're actually reaching out. And that becomes, like, a thing where we're all, like, introverted homebodies. And so, yeah, so I'm looking forward to seeing everyone. I don't know what I did here, but we obviously made some kind of a knot, which is not good. What the hell happened happened here? This is like a multi-knot situation. What in the heck? What in the heck, man? Okay. So that's the first layer of the knot. This is the second layer, maybe? Yeah. Aw, your bow friends used to, I'm sure that, and that, to be fair though, that is also, it's almost like this like weird imposter syndrome inferiority complex, eh? Where you're just like, I don't know, like, to be fair, that sometimes, I don't assume everyone hates me, but I assume everyone is cooler than me still. You know what I mean? Like, it's so funny. I do feel like I get almost, which is so weird because they're meant to be your friends. So I'm like, why am I intimidated by them? Why am I intimidated by my friends? Like, it's very strange. Like, yeah, I don't know. Yeah. That's hard. Well, I think you're awesome, and I don't think you're annoying. So if your friends do, fuck them. Sorry, that was aggressive. My apologies. This is a 14A stream. So we're allowed a couple swears, and we're still able to appeal to teenagers. Yeah. But that is a thing. Like, that is a thing where, especially if you're in your own head, and I'm sure as well, too, like, because of the tism, I wonder as well if you're constantly, like, almost, like, trying to figure out how the social interaction works. And you're kind of like, okay, it's almost like, am I masking properly? Am I performing this situation appropriately? And then after the interaction, the mask comes off and you go, shit, okay, did I perform friendship accurately? And then you start to, like, analyze it and get into your head about it. And you're like, oh, shit, like, I said this thing that was really awkward and cringy and stuff like that. Oh, I remember this one time. To be fair, I don't even know if my friend remembers this. He probably doesn't. But this was like, I don't even know. It was before I moved here. So I was still like visiting. And I think I came around, I don't know if it was a New Year's party, or I remember going over to our friend's house. And I don't know what had happened, but I think maybe this friend was reaching over to like take a coat or like show us where to hang the coats or whatever, and we were like in close proximity to each other. So I thought he was reaching in for a hug. So I hugged him, and as soon as I did, I was like, that was absolutely not what was happening. And I was mortified. I was like, oh shit. And then I remember telling Liam afterwards, I was like, yeah, so I thought that our friend wanted to hug me. And I realized after, so then, because what it is then they hugged me back. And then when the hug disengaged, they continued doing what they were originally going off to do. So I basically like intercepted their action with a hug. And so afterwards I was like, oh my God. And so I think afterwards I was telling Liam, I was like, oh my God, I did this thing. And I'm sure they thought I was an absolute weirdo. And then he was like, it's fine. They probably don't. Like, it's fine. Don't worry about it. But I remember being so mortified. I wonder if I see him this weekend, I might ask him about it. I might be like, yo, do you remember? Because I don't even remember when it was, but I feel like we were at his house for something. And yeah, I just remember like leaning for a hug because I thought that was what he was doing, and that's not what it was. I genuinely, because I think considering that I don't remember all of the details anymore, and I was the one who was traumatized by it, he probably has no freaking clue. He was like, I don't know what you're talking about. Yes, exactly. It is definitely, I'm almost 100% guaranteed that he has no memory of this. Probably guarantee. But isn't that so funny, and I guess, like, it's this weird thing where I think sometimes I've read something that, like, somebody will do, or someone has once said, like, and it was meant to sort of be a way to make you feel less guarded about doing things. And I've heard, where it's that, like, no one gives a shit about you. In the context of, like, when you're over-analyzing, like, oh my god, like, I walked a weird way, or, like, someone didn't notice, like, I smiled at them, or I waved at someone who wasn't actually waving at me, and I'm so embarrassed, and, like, and you analyze it, and then people go, like, I don't know, like, the weight you put on people's perceptions of you versus what they think of you, which is probably they don't think of you at all. And in a way, like, if you have a bit of an ego, that can be a little bit offensive. Like, oh, what do you mean people don't give a shit about me? What do you mean people don't think about me? But it's meant to sort of be, like, an empowering thing to be like, oh, that thing that you're worried that people are judging you for, they didn't even see it happen. Or they noticed and they went about their day and they've already forgotten. Like, that sort of a thing. I think that's what the goal of that is. Like, me slipping and falling on my ass in front of the whole band. Yeah! Absolutely. To be fair, though, I think every once in a while there are some things that are, like friendship culture touchstones. Like, I was the dum-dum who stuck my tongue to a frozen metal pole in the wintertime in grade school. I think it was maybe the 5th grade. Because my friend dared me to do it. And I think I did it for a second. And then he was like, do it for, like, a couple seconds. And I did. And it absolutely got stuck. But then I remember what had happened was, I think what I did was that, I was that person. I was that kid. What was it? I think it's in A Christmas Story where someone does it. Yeah. I stuck my tongue to, it was like the metal, like football field poles in the dead of winter, and it got stuck. But I think what I managed to do was, I think I managed to muster up enough saliva in the back of my throat that I was able to, like, spit on the section, like, on the pole, and it was enough to, like, moisten the area that I could then get my tongue off. So I feel like I probably peeled, like, a little bit of, like a surface level bit of skin off of my tongue. But it wasn't bleeding. There wasn't, like, it wasn't a massive, massive emergency. But I remember being so, 100%. But I beat myself up about it afterwards. Like, I remember having to go to, like, the principal's office. Because basically they were already, like, that wasn't very smart. And I think more, I feel like they were more concerned for my safety. I don't think I was in trouble, but even if I was in trouble, like, I think they realized that I was putting myself through it after it happened. Like, I remember, I think I was doodling, and I think I was, like, writing on a piece of paper being like, I'm stupid, like, I'm so dumb, like, why would I do that? You're such a stupid person. Like, I remember, like, the teacher being like, calm down, Tasha, like, you just made a mistake. And I was like, no, I'm a terrible human being. How dare, like, why the F did I do this? I didn't swear. I was, like, in the 5th grade. But you know what I mean? And I remember, like, sitting in the office and, like, writing, like, really shitty things about myself, and, like, just absolutely dragging myself for having done this thing. And in retrospect, it's absolutely hilarious. It's like, oh wow, you were such a dumb bitch. Why did you do this? And it's so funny because, again, that is, you know, obviously the aftermath. I don't think anyone knew about that. But like in my group of friends, it's like, oh yeah, remember that one time I dared you to stick your tongue on the pole of the soccer field and you absolutely did it? And I'm like, yeah, that was a dumb idea, wasn't it? So now I can laugh out, like, you know, retrospectively, I can laugh about it. And that has now, so, but what I'm trying to say is people remembered. So luckily I have perspective and I'm not, and I think it's funny now. And I still cringe about it, but it's more funny to me. But that is a moment where something you did happen, but people remember. Yeah, that was a memory that people had. But yeah. I was thinking about it the other day. I don't know if maybe I do downstairs. But because when I graduated from the 8th grade, because we had like a primary school system, so it was like junior kindergarten to the 8th grade. And so we actually had like an 8th grade yearbook that people were working on. And I wonder if I still have it. I must. If I don't, my parents have it, and hopefully they'll give it to me. Because I know I have my 9th grade yearbook. And it's annoying because I switched schools in the 10th grade, and I ordered a yearbook from that year, but I switched back to my school. Like, I switched to the original school back to the 11th grade. And they just gave my yearbook away, which I'm still really pissed about because my first school that I went to, when I changed to this local school, they actually mailed my yearbook from my old school to the new one. The new school that I then, you know, had ordered the yearbook and whatever, because I remember because my friends were still at that school, and they said, yeah, they were calling names of who ordered a yearbook, and they called my name, and someone said she doesn't go here anymore. And they went, oh, okay. And they just, like, gave the yearbook away. And I'm like, what the hell, man? Why? Why would you do that? Yeah. It was disrespectful. But I only ever got one high school yearbook because our yearbook committee at school, like in the one I ended up graduating from, was abysmal. To the point where I'm pretty sure in the last, like, in grade probably 11 and 12, but it got to a point where there was only one person on the yearbook committee. In retrospect, I feel like that would have been a fun thing for me to be a part of. I don't know why me and my friend didn't join yearbook committee. That would have been cool. Maybe, I don't know, at the time I probably thought it was lame, but, yeah, so I don't think that our 12th grade yearbook ever got finished, because I also think, too, there was this only girl on the yearbook who was in our year, but she was tasked with finishing the year before's yearbook that she wasn't even, like, a part of, because everyone graduated or everyone moved, but, like, the yearbook still wasn't done. So I think there was just a backlog of yearbooks that just never made the light of day because there was no committee to do them, which is a bit of a shame. But yeah, so I only have the 9th grade one. Yeah. Our yearbooks were done before we left for summer. Yeah, exactly. Was it something that, like, students did? Was it, like, a student-run thing? Or did you have, like, yeah. Was it just, like, professionals would do it? I say professionals. Like, the school outsourced them, is what I'm saying. Yeah, there was a yearbook staff, yeah. That seems like a very, like, I don't know, it seems like a cultural thing, right? I don't know, like it's one of those things like when movies that take place in high school happen, there's always like the yearbook committee person or something like that, you know what I mean? So it feels like it is like, again, and that's one of those things, right, where it's yearbook staff and cheerleaders and, you know, star football players and stuff like that. And my school had none of those things, or they tried to, and they were vastly different than what really happened. Yeah, that's the only downside, obviously, is they'll highlight, unless you were, like, in a group or a team, then you would have like your team photo that would get posted. But any of the like the scrapbook collage-y parts of yearbook happened, it would definitely, it would mostly be the people that the yearbook committee wanted in there, right? Yeah. I remember, so this girl, had her camera and was going to be taking photos for the yearbook. And I remember my friend, she was determined to try to get in as many photos in the yearbook as possible. So I just remember this, like, the yearbook photo girl in the hallway, and us, like, her being like, oh my god, like, take photos of me by the lockers and stuff like that. And so I remember her taking a bunch of photos of us. And my friend being so excited, like, oh, we're gonna have so many photos in the yearbook. And then I think that was the yearbook that, like, never came out because there was nobody to work on it. So I don't know, probably on some, like, dusty old computer at our high school is, like, all of these childhood, all of these high school photos that'll never see the light of day. Oh, amazing. You weren't technically captain? Was it one of those where were you co-captain or you were like second in command or something like that? That's pretty cool though. Did you guys ever have the like superlatives where they would like each grade, it would be like nominated like who's most likely to, I don't know, like become famous, or who's most likely to have their own talk show, or who's most likely to whatever. Yeah, because we had that. So it was like, the yearbook committee went around in grade 9, and then we would nominate like the person in our year, and then whoever got the most votes, that was like a thing. So it was like who is more likely to like win Canadian Idol or something, and who is more likely to have an exhibit or something. You're supposed to hoity-toity for that. That's funny. You weren't even second in command, but the captain. Hey, man. See, that's cool, though. So that obviously is the team recognizing that the actual captain was doing F all, and because you basically took over, you got the title in the yearbook. That's awesome. That's so good. That's obviously them recognizing that you ran shit because everyone else was slacking. That's awesome. I can step back. Really? Yeah. You were like, okay, do your job, please. She probably just wanted the clout of being captain without actually having the responsibilities of being captain. And then she didn't get what she wanted in the end, because no one, people are gonna look back and not realize that she was the captain because your name is next to that title. I don't know if you guys ever get this, like if anyone else has issues with like sinus pressure and sinus congestion, does it ever happen where your sinuses get inflamed and then your teeth hurt? Because that's what's happening here. I think like these sinuses here are inflamed and it's putting pressure on my jaw, like on the top of my mouth, and it's making my teeth hurt, which is a really annoying feeling. Yeah. You said it, yeah. It was honestly, that was such a good suggestion that you made, because when you were mentioning, because I was talking about the different, like, nose sprays. Yeah, I've done, like, the sinus massages and stuff like that. There's been certain ones where I've looked at, like, different points where you can massage your temples or your sinuses to help them drain. And to be fair, I do find that helps. But I think what happens is over time I do them, and then because I'm pushing so hard on my face to try to relieve stuff, my nails end up making little indents in my face, and I'm like, okay, maybe that's not a good idea. But yeah, definitely, I find they're like the one up here. Welcome back, sir. But yeah, there's like the ones up here. It's so funny because every time I go to the chiropractor, they do them as well. And I find them, they do help. Yeah, you're not supposed to, I know. You're not supposed, it's one of those where, yeah, I just do it, probably even like I'm not doing it that hard. I don't know. But I just find I have to be careful of how I position my fingers to make sure I'm not accidentally indenting my face with my nails. And they're not even that long. So, no way! Oh, that's so exciting. I hope the labor goes well. I hope there's no complications. That's so cool. Congrats on your family growing. That's really awesome. The miracle of life is occurring as we speak. Very cool. Oh, I forgot to tell you guys. It's only because I remember, you're gonna be an uncle! That's so awesome. You're gonna be a funkle. A fun uncle. That's what they call my, my nephew. They would call my, my partner that. He's Funkle Liam. But yeah, he was number one uncle for a while. So my partner, he has, 3 brothers, so he's one of 4 boys, and so his eldest brother has a child, and for the first like 3 years of this kid's life, he was absolutely obsessed with Liam. He was like, Liam's my favorite. You know, you'd ask him like, oh, who's your favorite uncle? And it was always like, oh, Uncle Liam, Uncle Liam. And in the last like year or two, it's changed. So it's now my other my brother, one of my brother-in-laws, he's now the favorite uncle. And everyone's like, oh my God, Liam, like you've lost your throne. How does it feel? You're no longer number one uncle. And he's like, I had the first 3 years. It's fine. You know, he can have, like, whatever. He's like passed the torch in a way. Because also, too, not being funny, if you're the favorite, then that means whenever the child is over, they want 100% of your attention. So if you wanted to come over at a family event and like talk amongst the adults, you don't got time because you got funkle duties to attend to. So now that my nephew is like, you know, Liam's like down on the totem pole, when we have family gatherings, he's like, oh cool, I'm off the hook because so-and-so needs to spend all their time with him now. Funkle sounds nice, yeah. I don't know what the Greek translation of that would be, if it would be even like just as cool, but yeah, the fun uncle. That's really cool though. Castlevania Metroid, yeah. That's funny. Are you gonna let them win, or are you gonna make them get good? That was a mistake that my father-in-law made. So he would play video games with my partner, with Liam. And of course, he wouldn't let Liam win, right? Because you know when you're playing with little kids, usually it's like, oh, you play a game and you let them like try and you know whatever, and you know pretend that you lose or whatever. And he didn't play that way. My father-in-law was like, absolutely not. I'm not gonna like dumb down my game playing skills for this child. But then Liam got good, and then Liam started beating him, and it was with my father-in-law playing his best. So in a way, he kind of created a monster because he was doing this to be like, no, it shouldn't be like that. You shouldn't like dumb down your gameplay skills for a child. And then Liam took that and was like, I'm going to get good then. And then kicked his butt. So that is the point. Yeah, sometimes. But I think sometimes what'll happen is like, you know, I don't know, maybe for ego purposes or whatever, you don't, you know, you're like, no, I'm good at video games. I'm not going to not be good at video games. And then it was like, oh, damn, I guess you gotta, because I do think, luckily, like some kids, at least, you know, with Liam, one of the things that I really admire about him is he has like a built-in self-determination where he can motivate himself to do things and get better at stuff. He'll like set a goal and he'll be like, I'm motivated to achieve this goal and I'm going to do that. Where I need a lot of external motivation, I'm shit at motivating myself to do things. I'll come up with a million excuses. I'm like, oh, I guess I could do this thing. But I'm like, yeah, but also, do I really have to? And so that's why things like streaming, holding me accountable, I need like an external source of accountability in order for me to achieve things. Even if I know logically that it'll be better for me to do that. Whereas with him, he's like, no, I'm going to work at achieving a goal and he can keep himself motivated. He doesn't need external things keeping him accountable. And I find that fascinating. And I'm like, that's one of the skills that he has that I admire the most about him. So I could see that, like, you know, this little child being like, well, I want to beat my, you know what I mean? I got to beat this guy. I got to, you know, step it up and whatever. And he persevered and trucked on, and even from a young age. And I'm like, that's really cool. Oh, and math. They gotta love math. Oh, what if they don't? What if you have like a floofy? What if you have, you know, a niece or nephew that loves, I don't know, art and animals and doesn't care about video games or math? What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm sure you'll have you'll have an impact on their lives. And I think even if and to be fair, I think sometimes too, the stuff that you show them, they might really take to them, right? Because that's what happened with my partner, because so my father-in-law is his, I guess, stepdad or whatever. And so my father-in-law was really into like computers and stuff like that, right? And video games and whatever. And I think, you know, some parents, their interest will rub off on their child and other times they won't. But I think a lot of Liam's passion and interest with computers and PCs and stuff like that probably started from his interactions with his father-in-law. And I think that's really cool. So I could see that happening, you know? Or like if we have a kid, it would be that one loves sports or something. Yeah. Yeah, that's the one thing too. I'm also, to be fair, Liam is a bit sporty, so he could do that. But yeah, God forbid, eh? Though we always had a thing, like my parents were very, they always wanted us to like, I guess, be well-rounded, if you will. So we were always, they would not overwhelm us, because that was the other thing too. Like one of the things, because I was diagnosed with my generalized anxiety disorder when I was in the 2nd grade. So I was 6, 7, trying to think. Yeah, so I was about 7 or 8 when I was diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder. And so, yeah, they gotta learn, that's true, they gotta learn English so they can listen, though this is a 14A channel, so it's gonna be a few years. But that'll be fun, too. I've heard, too, like, if parents speak both languages in the house with a child, it might take them longer to initially start speaking, but once they do, they'll be pretty fluent in both, which is cool. But yeah, so my parents always like wanted us to be well-rounded, so we always had to, our extracurricular activities were that we needed to do one like creative activity and one physical activity. So I played soccer or football for years, because also too we lived in front of a bunch of soccer fields, like local youth soccer fields, so it was easy for us to just like walk over to the other, whatchamacallit, just walk to the fields behind our house to play soccer. Dual language get passed in some respects. Okay. Yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome, Snipe Hunt. I think that's really cool. Unfortunately, it's one of those things, like, I learned, because in Canada, you don't need, unless you get formally exempt, you take French classes all throughout primary school. and up to you have to take one French class in the 9th grade to get your high school diploma. So that was something that I took all throughout primary school and into secondary school. And that's one of the things that I really wish I kept up. I think I took it in 10th grade and I found it really difficult, so then I stopped, which is a bit unfortunate because I do think, like, I don't know, it's just good to have, I don't know, like, I think the more, I don't know, like, people who can speak multiple languages, I'm like, kudos to you, and that's amazing, because I feel like, you know, the more you're able to communicate with different people around the world, I think that's really awesome. I think that's important. Our son is dual language, and they communicate a bit. Yeah. Oh, that's cool. Yeah. Yeah. Because I think that's the thing, right? Like, I think maybe, yeah, because I think when you're, I don't know, like, I'm not sure, but, like, when, with, like, parents and stuff like that, or, like, because there's all those, like, milestones, or there's, like, metrics that people will measure their kids by, or, like, when you go for your checkups, the parents will be like, oh, like, based on childhood development theory, they should be able to do X, Y, and Z, right? And so sometimes, you know, because all kids are different, some of them might reach those milestones earlier, they might reach them a bit later, and so I think sometimes if people or if kids aren't reaching those milestones, I think maybe parents' initial instinct is to get really concerned, like, oh my god, something is wrong. And so it's really good that, like, doctors or teachers or things are like, no, like, it's chill if they take a bit longer, you know what I mean? Like, don't freak out, don't worry about it, because, like, things are happening. And I think that's really good that they communicated that to you. Yeah, because I think, again, like, they're there as a guideline, but anything kind of fluctuates. Obviously, if there's, like, continual initial concerns or whatever, then you can investigate that further, but I don't know. I find that yeah, I can see, though, that can be very, not, like, frustrating or very, very concerning, because I can see, like, if I ever do become a parent, like, I don't know, I guess, I don't know, I'm somebody who's really into, like, metrics and stats or different things like that, so I could see myself needing to be reminded, like, it's cool if your kid is not hitting these behavioral or development milestones right away. Oh, is it? Oh, is it? Yeah, it's doing that thing, isn't it? I know every once in a while I do... Yeah. I do sort that out. But I don't always remember. So thank you for reminding me. Let me go into... Is it this one? Yeah, it is. Configure the video. Yeah, because it's on autofocus. Yeah, webcams are the last thing to get smart. It's true. It's true. There we go. Let's just make sure. No, that's getting really blurry. There. Maybe? So I don't know if that looks good. Yeah, okay, cool. I'm not sure if the ability to see on the thing, but it's a bit more definition. But yeah, I know it's annoying, the autofocus thing. I always forget to turn it off. But thank you for that. Thank you for pointing that out. Because it is, I do respect that can be very annoying when you're trying to watch something and it's going wah, 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 wah. I think probably too, because you're like moving, like my hands and stuff around, so it's trying to capture things happening at different levels, and it's like, no, you just gotta focus on this one thing. It's cool though. Yeah, you like the... Yeah, it's actually like a video effect. It's meant to provide drama and suspense. Yeah, that, or it can provide motion sickness. You know, I don't want anybody getting, you know, nauseous over it. Yeah, will it or will it not? Exactly. Oh, what's it gonna do? How's it gonna autofocus? Is it gonna be blurry or is it gonna be chill? We don't know. How we doing for time? Not too bad. Not too bad. Maybe we'll get, like, this sounds really bad because it feels like such a small victory, but, like, if we can get the arm filled in, I would call that a win. I would call that a win. I think there's, like, I don't know, how many, let's see. Apparently, there are 8,401 stitches in this cross stitch, and we have done 815. So we've completed less than 10% of this, apparently. Which is blowing my mind. I don't know. Because, I guess because it's a lot of stitches on a smaller piece of Aida cloth. Because, like, this is meant to be a picture that fits in this frame. So why is it so many? At a 0 and you're at 100%? Yeah, truly. Truly. It is just simple math. Technically, it's 8.8% that we've completed, but yeah. It's true. It's true. If I just put an extra 0, then we just... Yeah, but it's a lot. It's wild. Ha, there's an onion comment. I'll go to play with Uncle. Yeah, no problem. I appreciate that. Thank you for that. Yeah, bright colors. I appreciate that. I do. I wear a lot of, like, neutral tones, but of the brighter colors I wear, I am more drawn to red. Especially this shirt, because it says naps and snacks on it, which is a mantra that I firmly believe in, that I think everybody should. Life is all about naps and snacks, friends. Speaking of snacks, it might be time to take a snack break in a minute. We have a granola bar. I'm hoping one day, you know, my Twitch will blow up and Nature Valley will sponsor me, because I always seem to eat one of their granola bars on stream. I'm like, Nature Valley, sponsor me. That would be funny. They probably would never. I don't know if they've ever done sponsorships for things. Oh, I keep forgetting to talk about how I met the neighbor. So if you guys don't remember, yesterday, our old neighbors moved out, and I had sneaking suspicions that they were moving out because in the couple, the woman was expecting. And then it turns out I was 100% correct, but I had not I've not really seen them to ask them about it, and like, you know what I mean? And it wasn't until they literally had a moving truck in their house, or like in their yard, that I was chatting with our neighbor's mom, and she was like, yeah, they're moving because she's pregnant, she's due in 2 weeks, blah, 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 all this stuff. And I was like, all of the suspicions were confirmed. So I met the new neighbors. And it's so funny because I'm going to tell this to Liam because she's kind of giving me like younger version of the woman that we bought this house from. So I don't know if I've told you guys how the woman that we bought the house from, her name was Pam. Unfortunately, she's passed on now. She was like in her 80s and loved this house. She loved this house. She loved her garden. But she had COPD. So she had a really difficult time breathing and was getting to the point where she just couldn't manage living in a house by herself anymore. Her partner had passed on like years previously. And it's really funny because, like, I don't know, just like the mannerisms and stuff like that. Like, this woman's a bit older. I think she's probably in her 50s, and she has a son who I'm gauging like late teens, early 20s. And so they've just moved in. And remember how I said, like, oh, Shadow's gonna be the nosiest freaking neighbor? Because to be fair, I didn't meet the neighbor first. Shadow met the neighbor first. Because of course he did. Because as soon as things were happening next door, he's been such a little nosy boy, like sitting on our balcony, like looking over the fence panel, seeing what's happening, you know, and as soon as he saw movement and someone come out, he just was up on the fence with his nose over the panel, barking at them, wanting attention. So, of course, I was concerned because I was like, shit, maybe they hate dogs and they're going to be really annoyed with this dog constantly jumping over the, like, you know, popping up on the fence panel to say hi to them. Oh, no. Okay. Whew. Drop the needle. That would have been scary. But it turns out they have a dog themselves. They have a rescue dog. The dog wasn't there, but I guess maybe the dog was staying with someone else once they moved in, and then they would be getting, you know, the dog and stuff like that. So, luckily, they are team dog, which is great, because then I'm less concerned about Shadow being annoying to them. He still will. I don't know if it was, like, her daughter. There was a younger woman who I don't know if it was her daughter, who was leaving later at night, and he was on it. He was barking at her. I'm like, people are allowed to move in and out of their own home, and you don't have to alert it. Oh, you got hung out. Yes, I hope you have a wonderful weekend too, Kat. Thank you so much for stopping by. I appreciate you. Enjoy clocking out early. Have an amazing weekend, and I will see you next week. But yeah, so hopefully, I don't know, I get the vibe that because she's a little bit older, she seems a bit more reserved. It was really sweet because we were chatting. And of course, I don't approach people first, but as soon as somebody breaks the ice and is like, hi, I'm so-and-so, I'm like, blah, 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 blah. I will chitty chatty about anything and nothing forever. So at one point she's like, okay, I'm gonna go have a cup of tea now. Nice to meet you. And like walked off, and I'm like, she seems chill, you know? Introvert, extrovert, 100%. Yeah, I need a lot of recharge time, and a lot of time like by myself and chilling. But yeah, once that, there are 100%, yeah, you get it, Snipon, I appreciate that, so you know. But yeah, so I'm hoping, I don't know, they seem really like, yeah, just like chill. And I think, you know, if people are coming over, they're not like having ragers, right? Like, you know, but yeah, I don't know. I get a good vibe. It was interesting too, because the woman was saying, that she doesn't drive, which doesn't seem like it matters, but in a way it's good because they have a driveway. And one of the problems that was with our old neighbors, and you know, no fault of their own, is they have a driveway that can fit 2 cars, but they had a lot of people coming over and helping them out a lot. Like his mother was coming over a lot. They had, again, quite a blustering social life, but I'm not going to blame anyone for that. But what happened was, because we have this alleyway where we park our cars, sometimes they would, again, I've told you the story how they parked in front of our driveway, or they would park, you know, down in other parts of the alleyway and like, you know, block people in or cut people off and whatever. And it became a real pain in the ass sometimes. But if this woman doesn't drive, then when she has visitors, they can just park on her driveway, and then there's no concern about anybody taking up any space and like making it difficult to navigate the alleyway. So that's a bonus, you know? So it's interesting. I also realize I can be a lot to take in, so I will unload if I realize, oh yeah. Oh, that's really cool though. It's interesting, isn't it? Where you can almost sort of sense or get the vibe of somebody that's like safe for you to sort of be your kind of like wild, bubbly self with. You know what I mean? Because I do feel like sometimes you meet somebody, and especially like you said, if you're a bit of like an introverted extrovert, you're sort of like sussing out like, okay, is this person my same brand of weird? Or my same brand of, you know, like, are we on a same vibe? Or am I gonna overwhelm you once we start talking? You know what I mean? Which, to be fair, I think that might have happened a little bit with this neighbor, but I think it's because she was just overwhelmed because she literally had just moved in, and I was like, yeah, and this and this and that, and oh my god, and this and whatever, and blah, blah, blah. And she was like, okay, I'm gonna have a cup of tea, bye. Poking an eye out, so yeah. Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You're just like, is it safe to let my freak flag fly? You know what I mean? So, yeah, that's so awesome. But But it was really interesting too. I don't know, I'm excited that there's gonna be another dog next door, but she was mentioning, because she asked, like, oh, meeting Shadow, like, oh, do you have a dog walker? And I was like, nah, it's all me, I'm the dog walker. Because she was like, oh, I need to find a dog walker at, you know, in this neighborhood. And so I was like, oh, because there's a few people when I, whatchamacallit, when I take Shadow to the forest, there's a few dog walkers I run into. So I was like, oh, like, I've seen some in this area I walk Shadow, so I can ask them, like, if we're in their catchment area and, like, pass on the information. So I felt like I could be helpful. I was like, ooh, I can find dog walker information for you. That's something I can do. Hopefully they do our area. I know obviously the forest I go to, they're there, but I don't know if their, like, pickup range is in, because we're a bit out of the way from where, like, the forest is that we go to. But when you move into your house, you're also moving to someone else's territory of sorts. Yeah, exactly. That's true. I think we're, like, introducing ourselves and being cordial, but, like, you know, kind of like, I'm sure they're sussing us out, you know what I mean? They're kind of like, oh shit, like, we're gonna be seeing each other a lot more, like, let's do a vibe check, you know what I mean? So yeah, but I get good vibes. I feel like they seem really chill. I noticed she had a couple, like, plants and pots and things like that she brought over, so I'm like, oh, she might be, like, a little garden lady. So I think that's why I get similar vibes to her, to the woman that we bought the place from, like a younger version of her, which is nice because she was, like, the sweetest woman. So I expect this woman to be kind of sweet as well. But if she's not, that's fine. As long as, you know, we keep to ourselves and all that kind of stuff. That's all that matters. But yeah. I'm just, you know what it is? I'm just excited to meet this dog. I want to meet this new dog. I think it's a rescue. They think he's, like, a spaniel mix. So I bet he's full of energy. So that explains why they need a dog walker, because he probably needs to be walked a few times a day. But yeah, so that'll be cool. Because, you know, I just like dogs. So I was like, I would like to meet these doggos. Okay, where are we at with this? 5, 4, 2, 5. Yeah, I think too, I wonder if she works in London, and, like, would need to commute with the train, because they were asking about how long it takes to sort of walk to the train station from where we are. And I said what I thought, but then I was thinking about it, I'm like, oh, because my partner, because Liam has to take that commute journey, he probably is a better gauge of how long that takes, because I also have a really, like, I don't know, I have a strain, I don't know, I don't have good, like, spatial time awareness, if that makes sense. I'm like, I don't know how long it takes to do a thing. I can tell you roughly, because obviously I take a walk, and the forest is kind of across the street from the train station, and so I know how long it takes me and Shadow to do that walk, but obviously we're stopping every 5 seconds because he's sniffing things, and then when he needs to poop, he takes a million years because he needs the exact conditions. He's like, oh my god, the wind is going in this direction. Oh no, a leaf grazed my leg. Can't do it here. And then, or it's like sniff in a circle for like 2 minutes. Okay, now I will. So it takes longer because he's a little princess about it. So I'm sure if you're just, like, hauling ass to get to the station to commute into work, it'll probably not take you as long. But yeah. Do. All right. That's it. We got an hour. I think we can finish this arm in an hour. I believe in us, you guys. I think we can make it happen. Oh.
Check your posture.
Oh. Thank you for that. I probably have been in Couch Gremlin mode. I want to know all the info. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I would think so. I think too, like, obviously, I don't know, I think, because it wasn't the woman who was moving in, it was, who I assume is her, like, adult daughter who lives elsewhere. But yeah, I think, because when we bought this place, we Googled, we were like, okay, let's Google map the walk route, you know what I mean? So yeah, I would think you would do those sorts of things first. But yeah, I think it would be, yeah, you're right. It would be wild if they bought the place with being like, oh, how long is this gonna take? Definitely. Yeah, exactly. And I also think too, because, yeah, 100%. Those are the sorts of things that you need to sort of, evaluate when you're looking for a place. I absolutely agree. Yeah. I guess too, because they're from like another town, but so they're like aware of this area, but you know, I think because it was similar to when we moved in, where we kind of know the area, but then it's like, yeah, once you work out your sort of walking path or like what you're gonna do, because even too, like, even like locations to shops, to be fair, we do have like a grocery store, I'd say is probably like a 15-minute walk, 10-15 minute walk. So if somebody doesn't drive, but obviously like they have like grocery delivery services now and stuff like that, so it's like less of a concern. If you can afford to like do the delivery, then it's not really something that you need to worry about. But I could see it being a thing if that's not something that you do. We are stretching. Okay, thank you for that. Actually, we probably take a little snack break as well. Again, Nature Valley, non-spawn, but maybe one day spawn. I'll stir. I don't think Shadow's up here. I think he's chilling downstairs. Sometimes he'll come up and hang out, but other days he does not. It's really sweet. We went to the field. Oh, first of all, I'll tell you the sweet story, but the absolute audacity. So if you guys don't know, Shadow is my 2-year-old lurcher. So he's all sight hound. He has like a little bit of Bedlington Terrier in him to make him an official lurcher. But we got one of these doggy DNA tests. So he's mostly greyhound. And then with a little bit of Whippet and Saluki, which is an Egyptian greyhound. So he's all the sight hounds, right? And so the literal catchment of his breeds is sight hound. When I tell you that the first thing we do when we went into the field is I have one of those ball launchers, and it's a bright orange ball. We lost the ball for like 10 minutes today. Because I threw it, and what happens is Shadow doesn't always like to go and get the ball and fetch it. He likes to just chase the ball as a reason to run. And then he'll run to the ball and then be like, okay, cool, that was it. He doesn't bring it back always. Sometimes he does, but usually he doesn't. And especially if we've just started the walk, he'll then go off and find something fun to sniff, right? So today, I throw the ball, and they had recently, like, I guess, mowed the field. So there was big tufts of, like, lawn trimmings and stuff around. But I'm like, it's an orange ball. But what I do find is when I throw the ball, I can't watch Shadow run and live his best life. I have to watch where the ball lands, because 9 times out of 10, he will not find it and pick it up. So I'm like, sir, you are a sight hound. You are literally, sight is in the name of your breed category. How come we lost the ball? I even said, I was like, dude, where'd it go? And so he's like, I don't give a shit where the ball is. I'm sniffing things. I'm running around. I'm doing whatever. And then I'm wandering around like a silly goose. in the field being like, I'm pretty sure in this general area. So I got to, but luckily, when I got to the point where I was like, guess we've lost it, that sucks, I found it. So it was fine. But I was like, you really don't live up to your breed expectations, sir. Like, his nose is not calibrated, because he's not a, you know, a sniffer, he's a sight hound, but then he doesn't see shit. So I'm like, what are you doing? Figure it out. But it was really sweet, because there was this, dog, I think the dog's name is Magda, who recognized him from the previous week. And so as soon as she saw him, she was, like, playing with these other dogs and, like, not listening to her owners come back. Yeah. I wonder if you can, because if you put an Apple AirTag on a ball and you throw it and, like, it's in the dog's mouth, I assume they could, like, crunch the AirTag. I don't know how durable AirTags are. I'll see what happens, because I'm pretty sure my parents, because my family's all coming to visit next week. And we're doing a day trip into London, and my mom knows that a lot of my family members are, like, ADHD space cadets. And so my mom is like, in order to give me peace of mind, I'm gonna put AirTags on all of them so they can run off. It's tea time. And I can still find where they are. So we'll test the durability of the AirTag when they're attached to all of my family members, so we know who they are. I've all finished my tea, Probacus, but I do have some water that we can drink. And you've just redeemed karaoke time. So I don't know if you know what that means. You're testing my buttons, yeah. So karaoke time means that I will sing a song for you of your choice. I will karaoke sing a song. But the caveat is I need to know the song, and bonus points if it's like 2000s nostalgic song. So those are the confines. So if you have any songs in mind, let me know, because that is what you have redeemed. If not, you can throw it out to the chat, and if they have any song suggestions, they can. But that's what that is. So if you would like me to perform a karaoke song. If you can't think of anything and we're not sure and no one else can think of anything, I can always refund you the points, because I know you're just testing things. But that is an option for you. Give you a sec. Absolutely. You take your time and you let me know. Let me know when you come up with something, and we can make that happen. But yeah, let me load up some stuff. And we can do that. But yeah, think of anything? Well, let me know. If not, we will keep on trucking. Ah, ha, ha. We can do that. We can make that happen. Okay. Good choice. That's an excellent choice. Nothing cheesier than that. That's true. Nothing cheesier. Absolutely. Excuse me. Let's find that. Not joking. That's so funny. I love that. Great minds. Great minds think alike. The hive mind is real. Can confirm. Can confirm. Hive mind is real. Okay. Let's do that. We can pause the tune. We will go into full screen mode. We will turn up the volume. That might be too much. We'll see. We'll see. Okay. You ready? Yeah. You are my fire, the one desire. Believe when I say I want it that way. But we are two worlds apart. Can't reach to your heart when you say I want it that way. Tell me why ain't nothing but a heartache. Tell me why ain't nothing but a mistake. Tell me why I never wanna hear you say I want it that way. Am I your fire, your one desire? Yes, I know it's too late, but I want it that way. Tell me why ain't nothing but a heartache. Tell me why ain't nothing but a mistake. Tell me why I never wanna hear you say I want it that way. Now I can see that we're falling apart from the way that it used to be. Yeah, no matter the distance, I want you to know that deep down inside of me, you are my fire, the one desire. You are, you are, you are. Bow, 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 bow. Don't wanna hear you. Ain't nothing but a heartache. Ain't nothing but a mistake. Don't wanna hear you. I never wanna hear you say I want it that way. Tell me why ain't nothing but a heartache. Tell me why ain't nothing but a mistake. Tell me why I never wanna hear you say I want it that way. Tell me why ain't nothing but a heartache. Ain't nothing but a mistake. Tell me why I never wanna hear you say I want it that way. 'Cause I want it that way. That was a lot of fun. Thank you for that. Excellent, excellent. That was fun. That was a good choice. That was a good choice. I don't think I've actually we've not done BSB. We've redeemed a few options, but we've not, I think that's the first BSB karaoke rendition we've done. Girl, when you debuting, could you imagine? Oh my god. I hit an ad, please do again. You're like, encore! Girl, bruh. Oh, that was so fun. It's been a minute. That one was actually, I wasn't sure if that one was going to be too low and I would have had to like change it into an octave, but it worked itself out to, that was a good time. That was a good time. I enjoyed myself. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Put the tunes back on. So now you know what that button does. You're hitting all the buttons. Now you know what that one does. Yep. It was a nice change of pace, right? Yeah, it helps to switch it up every once in a while. Do something a little bit different. Take a little break from the crafts. Take a little craft break. Ooh. Bit of a tonal shift. depends on the song. Sometimes the songs are absolutely chaotic, but that was a good one. That one was a nice chill tone. Chill but nostalgic. It's what we love. Craft boy break, yeah. Crafty boys. Crafty boys break. Yeah, we need those every once in a while. That's why we stretch. That's why we have snacks. That's why we do karaoke, just to, you know, break it up. Have some time. Do the things. Have the chats. And then, you know, sometimes I get so riled up or I'm busy telling a story and I can't multitask. So that's also what we take when we take breaks from crafting. To tell stories and shenanigans. I think we need more snack breakage. But yeah, we got what is it? We're doing good. We're doing good. We got 40 minutes. I think it is perfectly appropriate for us to get this arm done. I'm feeling optimistic, friends. We're feeling optimistic about it. But yeah, it's one of those things where it's white on white, so it's like not the most thrilling to look at. But when this is done and then we backstitch it with black, it's gonna pop. It's gonna pop. I think if I wasn't doing backstitching, then I would have stitched this on black Aida cloth. But because we're gonna do backstitching on it, like black backstitching to outline everything, it will look awesome. But right now it looks kind of bland and boring and blends into itself. But I promise you, that will change. That will change. We just need to be patient. This is me telling myself more than I am telling you guys. I'm like, girl, you gotta be patient. It's gonna look awesome, but you just need to wait. You just gotta persevere and do the things. It looks like a half-eaten mushroom that's happy. That's so funny. I love that. I love that. That's one of my favorite things, too, though, about cross-stitching is sometimes it's just about what things look like before the finished project. So I love it. It's kind of like when you look at, like, constellations or you look at, you know, a bunch of blotches. I don't know if you guys have this. So I used to do this all the time when I was younger. So we had popcorn ceiling. So I don't know if you guys have had this, but basically it's when you don't bother, like, smoothing out your ceilings and it's all, like, bumpy, stucco-y. So we called that popcorn ceiling. And so there would just be like bumps and stuff on our ceiling. And so what I used to do when I was little is I would stare up at the popcorn ceiling and I would look for pictures. So I would look at all the little individual bumps and stuff on the wall. Oh yeah, do you hate popcorn ceiling? To be fair, I don't see much of it here in the UK. I don't know if I've actually seen any popcorn ceiling. You're not a fan. You're like, boo, popcorn ceiling. I loved it as a child. Because I got to see, I got to almost like look for constellations in my ceiling to help me do, it's a big US North American thing. Yeah, definitely. And I think too, it's a budget saving thing, I guess. That's what it was told to me, where I'm like, it's cheaper. You don't have to worry about like sanding the ceiling and stuff like that. Yeah, I am. Yeah, I'm in the UK. I've been here for, well, it'll be my 6th year here. Yeah. So it's a Canadian in the UK. That's me. But yeah. No, it is. But that was the thing. So yeah, not a fan of it looks ugly. But as a child, it provided endless amusement to help me fall asleep. Is to like look for pictures in the popcorn ceiling. How's the coronation? I wouldn't know. I'm just picking on, yeah. Aw. That's fair. You're like, I'm just picking on the little guy. It's okay. It's okay, man. If you need to redirect your anger somewhere that is helpful to you, you go right ahead. Yeah, honestly. To be fair, I did talk about this because I have this, one of the things I noticed is that the Brits love a bunting here. So if you guys know what bunting is, it's basically like a string with a bunch of like usually fabric triangles hanging off of it, like little flags, and they put that up as like celebratory like window dressings and like how to decorate. They're like decorations. And so the Brits love a bunting, and they love putting up bunting when there's like national celebrations. So for the Queen Centennial, I shit you not, there was bunting everywhere. Like every other house had bunting, and there were like, I don't know, it was just one of those things where there was bunting everywhere. It was like everyone putting up Christmas lights, but it was bunting. And so I was joking with my partner, because I take Shadow for walks every day, and I was telling Liam, I was like, oh, I'm on bunting check for the coronation, because Brits love a bunting. I'm gonna go in and like check on bunting. So bunting, like, it's basically, here, let me Google it. But it's basically like decorative hanging stuff. That doesn't work. I'm trying to think. It's like a banner. It's like decorative banners in a way. It is usually triangular bunting. See, this is bunting. It's like decorative triangles and like streamers that you hang from stuff for decoration purposes. Yeah. So it's like decoupage but less cool. Yeah, no. You could decoupage bunting. But yeah. So I'm like, oh man, bunting check for the coronation. Let's check. And the bunting was very sparse for the coronation. People were not, like, I would see flags and I would, but it was like more few and far between. It was like, it was sort of, it looked like, you know, when everyone takes their Christmas decorations down and their Christmas lights down in like, you know, January, but there's always a couple houses that keep them on until like April. That's what it looked like. That's what the bunting looked like, but that was like for the celebration. So Brits were, I don't know, man. It was people just didn't give a shit, to be honest. And honestly, I don't blame them, considering that there was like 2 gilded gold carriages carrying the royal family, and we're currently going through a cost of living crisis. So people are like, I kinda don't give a shit about these bougie ass people when I'm trying to figure out if I want to buy food for the week or pay rent. You know? So, and also like all the other things too. Like I do think that in a lot of ways the monarchy sort of died with Queenie, or at least the love of the monarchy died with the Queen. Because she was like the nation's grandma, and now everyone's like, we don't care anymore. Yeah. Exactly. I think that's what it was. People were kind of like, yeah, you're telling us that our energy bills are exponential and they keep rising, and then this is happening. So, yeah, it's difficult. It's complicated. And then I think too, there's like issues, I guess, kind of politically as well, because I think the UK passed some sort of bill recently that basically prohibits like organized protesting in a way, or like really sort of takes protections for people who are peacefully protesting away, which is a whole other bullshit can of worms, like violations of amendments and stuff like that. So that's fun, because I think there was a lot of people that got arrested during the coronation for protesting, even though it's technically their right to do. Peaceful protesting. Obviously, if you're like being, you know, violent, that's different, but yeah. So if you're, yeah. So I guess to answer your question, I don't really know. Yeah. Yeah, there was a bunch of people doing those Not My King placards, and the people wearing the high vis that were carrying those. I didn't look at all, like, I don't know. It's one of those where I didn't get into the specifics because it wasn't, it, like, made news to the point where I, like, read a headline, and I was like, yeah, that makes sense. It's really funny because actually, to be fair, you know what it was? It's because I joke with my partner, because I watch the Philip DeFranco show basically every morning. And so if you guys don't know, he's like a YouTube personality guy, and he'll post like daily kind of news updates. But obviously, he's based in the U.S., and so most of his coverage is about like stuff happening in the US. So like US politics and US, you know, scandals and whatever. Like sometimes it'll be like, you know, it's internet celebrity kind of subculture stuff that I'm aware of. And then it'll be more states-based news or international news or whatever. So I always joke when the British news makes the Philip DeFranco show, that's usually when the Brits done fucked up. Because I think it was like when we were having our cycle of prime ministers, because shenanigans kept happening. Every once in a while, the Phil DeFranco show would comment on it, and I'm like, oh, you know that Britain's in trouble when internet personality Phil DeFranco is touching on it in his American news segment. The nice thing, though, about the coronation was that we got a bank holiday. And we got an extra bank holiday. So there's going to be 3 bank holidays in May. So there was one bank holiday at the beginning of May. So bank holiday is like, I don't know, like, I feel like I always called it something else when I was in Canada. We didn't call them bank holidays. They were called something else. Like, I don't know, basically like long weekends, essentially. But yeah, so at the beginning of the month, there's like a standard long weekend. I think at the end of the month there is too. But yeah, so we had back-to-back long weekends. So my partner had back-to-back 4-day weeks, which is cool. I don't know if it's going to be a forever thing, though. I think it was just for the coronation. I don't know if it's like a thing where it will now be an annual thing. Yeah, that's definitely what it was. I think that's what we called it. We called it public holiday. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think you're right. I think that's what it was. Yeah, it's one of those things, like, every once in a while, I'm like, I know that I didn't call it this, but then it was so, you know, you drink the Kool-Aid and you get indoctrinated and everything becomes, like, a commonplace, and you're like, shit, what was the thing I used to say? Yeah, public holiday. That sounds right. Okay, so Pringles, Sart, or bacon. I would do bacon. I would do bacon Pringles. Just because, I don't know, I like smoky bacon flavored chips / crisps. Crisps if you're British, chips if you're everyone else. Yeah. Though sometimes artificial bacon flavor can be unappetizing. I know. It's like, it can be, I feel like it can be a polarizing flavor. If people don't like meat flavored chips, but I do. I would choose that. Though most Pringles are not gluten free, so I actually can't eat Pringles because I have celiac disease. So some crisps because we speak properly. Oh okay. Oh crisps. For a while everything was chips to me because I would call potato chips, and then obviously fries chips. So I was like chips and chips, all the chips. But I feel like the longer I'm here and I refer to things so people can understand me, the more it's gonna be a real struggle when I go back to visit. And I'm like, we're all British and all in it. Brits and all in it. But yeah, so I didn't order this. Yeah, I'd be like, yeah, I order chips and they bring me fries, and I'm like, oh, right. Though to be fair, I feel like you wouldn't order crisps at, like, if you ordered crisps at a restaurant in Canada, they'd be like, I don't know what you're talking about. They'd be like, you want crispy chicken? What is a crisp? Whereas chip has a different meaning in the UK than it does in Canada, whereas I don't think crisps have a, like, they aren't anything. You know what I mean? But yeah. But yeah, so I have celiac disease, so I have to eat gluten-free. And Pringles, I guess because they're made out of potatoes, like, they're not, I don't know, they're made out of potatoes like a potato chip, but they're not cut like a chip. They're basically like, you know when you order, like, a roast chicken breast at Subway, and it's not really a chicken breast, it's basically like, it's like it's kind of like the hot dog of potato chips, a Pringle. Because I think what it is it's like potato flakes or chunks that they then mush together and put a binding agent in it and then press it into a Pringle shape. So usually with a lot of those things, they have the binding agent they use is wheat flour. So a lot of, like, even with, like, sausages and things like that too, it's also as a way to, like, keep things cheap. So instead of having a sausage that's casing is just meat and seasoning, in order to cut down costs, they'll mix it with breadcrumbs before they stuff the sausage, and obviously the breadcrumbs will have wheat in them, so then I can't eat them. But yeah, that was always the thing, because I worked at Subway for 4 or 5 years when I was going to university. And yeah, so I remember looking up the ingredients. So the chicken chunks, so the, like, bits of chicken I could have, they didn't have gluten in them. But the roast chicken breast, I couldn't have, and that's because, again, it was like the hot dog of chicken, where they basically took discarded chicken chunks and mixed it with flour or breadcrumbs and then molded it into a chicken breast shape. You know what I mean? So it's interesting. But that's what Pringles are. So that's why, though, to be fair, there are Pringles now, some of them that I can eat. It's very interesting. Sometimes, too, it's a seasoning issue. So certain potato chips, like, I don't know, like, usually it was barbecue flavored chips, they would have wheat in them for some reason. But yeah. It's always interesting. Like, when you have to make a dietary change, later on in life, it's always interesting to then realize, like, all of the stuff that you never would have thought would contain this ingredient is sometimes everywhere. If I was gluten-free, I'd just be mowing down tortilla chips nonstop. Yeah, to be fair, we are big Dorito people in the house. Though apparently Doritos, there's potential for cross-contamination. Because again, because of the seasoning, some of them aren't gluten-free. But like just OG plain tortilla chips, 100%. I'm a big nacho person. And I love a good like salsa. Like that's probably one of the things that I make. I make like, I don't know. I don't even know if I call them poor man's nachos. I make like cheap shitty nachos for lunch all the time. Where it's like Doritos with a bunch of cheese on it. Sometimes if I'm feeling spicy, I'll like rip up chunks of like sliced ham or chicken or something like that and stick them on there and then cover it with cheese with a bit of salsa and then I just microwave it for like a minute so that the cheese melts. Love it. The purple spice ones, oh cool. Yeah, I love a good, I also love a good like veggie chip. Like a sweet potato chip. Or crisp, if you will. And they have like turnip ones. And you can buy those like mixed bag of like rainbow vegetable chips. Those are really nice. I like those a lot. Chili bag. Not in such a long time. Isn't that the one where you take like a small bag of Doritos and you crush them up and then you stick like chili? It's almost like a taco salad in a bag. Is that what you're talking about? Where you like put all the sort of fixings in there and like some sour cream and like some lettuce and cheese and you kind of just like shake it in the bag and eat it right out of it. Those are a fun time. I've not done that in years. Yeah. Oh, interesting. Some swear you have to use Frito chips. Oh, cool. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Now I'm like questioning it. But yeah, I've definitely done something similar to that. The Fritos are gluten-free. Oh, I don't even know. I don't know if you can get Fritos here. But I've had I think I've had Fritos before. But yeah, I don't know if I've had, let me Google it. I'm like, can I have Fritos in the UK? UK Fritos. Fritos. UK. Doesn't look like it. It looks like maybe, oh, they might be in the like specialty aisle. Like it's so funny, there's like an American section in grocery stores. Well, time to move back, yeah. Like, well, it's me, I'm out of here now. Can't get Fritos. Yeah. Yeah, free from gluten. That's so funny. Maybe Amazon. Yeah, probably. That's probably where that would be an option. But yeah, I would do the... I'm glad you decided not to. You were watching me yeah, I guess that's interesting. That's funny. So you pop by. I've not done that in a while. But I can see why. I usually do that with like Instagram and stuff where I'm like, oh, I've not like engaged with the content and things like that. Yeah. But yeah, no, it's fun. I really appreciate you guys suggesting new people to go and visit, because like every once in a while I go through phases where like it's that fine balance of wanting to like get out and meet new people, but then also wanting to like hang out and support your other like kind of fellow streamers that you connected with. But I enjoy it. I think it's fun, and I'm glad you guys are here. And yeah, I'm glad you didn't delete me. Though I do respect that if people don't. No way! Oh, that's so funny. She's alright. Yeah, she's okay. Fair enough. She's like, meh. She's a. No, I thought she was lovely. I wish I could have stuck around more and watched the squirrel be made. Seven out of 10. 7 out of 10. That's fair. That's a pass. That's a B+. That's a B+. That's all right. 70%, you pass. Fine choice. Yes. Right? Grading on a curve. That's true. Okay, fair. Yeah, on the top of the bell curve. when you're a 5 out of 10, but if you grade on the curve. I'm so glad I don't know. Well, actually, I was gonna say I'm so glad I don't be getting, that I don't get graded anymore. But I feel like I actually, really, I don't know. I got a dopamine rush from it. Like, when I would hand in essays and get, 80% and stuff like that. Like, that was a big dopamine rush. You punching above your grade, noise. Bro Bacchus, I'm like, nah, they 10 out of 10s all around. You're like, kudos, man, kudos. Alright, we're gonna have to tie these off. And then keep her going. Always. Don't tell her, no. I'm like, we will keep your secret. Okay, we are getting there. Okay, yeah. Really? Aw, man. Did you have that? You had, like, really strict... Yeah. No, thankfully, I didn't, yeah. I was aware of some families like that, though, where it was, like, 90s, no. Yeah. That's hard. Are your sisters older than you as well? Or are you, yeah. Because that was the thing with my friend, one of my closest childhood friends, she was the middle child of 3 kids. And her and her sister were very overachieving, really high grades, like really sort of type A, kind of bossy. And then their son, like her brother, wasn't as, like, I guess, intellectually gifted as them. And I think, like, the parents, I don't know, it was like a real, I can only imagine a real struggle for him, because he was having to almost, like, even if it wasn't intentional, kind of, like, live up to this expectation that his sisters set. And I think they were really hard on him, too. Like, as much as I love my friend, and she complains about her sister, like, parenting her, I think they both parented their brother. So it was like he had 3 sets of girls, his mom and his 2 sisters, like, constantly putting pressure on him. Like, it would be tough. It would be tough out there. I'm the last. Yeah, you're the baby. Never had a latch latchkey kid. I just lied and said enough homework. Yup. Yup. Yeah, so you're probably very self-sufficient, because you had to be. I don't know. I was one of those obnoxious, like, well, I don't know. It was this weird thing where I was, because of my, I don't know. It was like this anxiety, fear of failure. So I was like a procrastinator, but I would get decent grades and stuff. And I really, like, prided myself on that. Yeah. Yeah. Remember how many realize that they don't matter. Yeah. That's really good. I'm glad your brother was able to be that, like, positive role model for you. Yeah, where he tried to live up to the expectation and probably, like, maybe burnt out, had, like, mental health struggles because of it, something like that, where it was like, no, this isn't healthy, and I recognize it's not healthy, so I don't want that for you. Yeah, I just feel like I existed. Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. And that's, you know, like, it sounds really shitty, but I think sometimes people maybe will have expectations of maybe parenthood, and then when it doesn't kind of live up to that, or, yeah, like, it can be difficult, eh? And it's one of those things where you kind of are like, well, I didn't ask to be born, but you are born and you exist, and you hope that, you know, the environment you're in is supportive and loving, but then if it isn't, like, you're kind of like, okay, you just gotta kind of figure that out and find that support elsewhere. Sibling, yeah, kind of parents want, yeah, definitely. 14 years with my oldest sister, 12, wow. 8 with your brother, yeah, so they're much older, and they're at, like, different stages of their life, and then also, too, not being funny. I feel like the landscape, at least, like, from your oldest sister, I think, like, that's, like, over a decade. And so even just, like, the makeup of society changes in those 10 years. So the expectation or, like, the reality and worldview that your oldest sister had to exist in could be completely different by the time you're going through that same situation. And so it's like, it's almost like it's impossible that it would be impossible to achieve those expectations because the landscape is completely different. Like, that's the equivalent of, like, going to school with typewriters versus going to school with a computer. Like, in some instances, that, you know what I mean? Like, the technology changes, the protocol changes, what's expected of you changes. Like, even my friends, like, a 4-year difference. School curriculums completely change in 4 years. Things get added, things get taken away, there's, like, new best practices, like, it can be completely different. Yeah. Had to come with my mom about the... Yeah. There's 3 data points. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's really good, though. Like, that you were able to have that conversation. But it's true. It's interesting, because a lot of that is, like... Yeah. It's, like, wanting to almost, like... Because I think, too, if you, like... It's almost like you become self-aware. And you're like, okay, I would like to be self-aware... or it's like you have a self-awareness. You're realizing something about yourself. You're like, oh, I'm interacting with the world in a certain way. And I don't know if it's a good way or a bad way, but I think it's informed by my upbringing or how I was, you know what I mean? Like this sort of thing. I would like to explore that and sort of unpack that a bit. Whereas like older generations are like, you know, like they're like, we don't talk about anything. Like my entire side of my dad's family, like shit's gone down and we're just gonna like bow our heads and not talk about it and pretend it doesn't exist. And it's like, or we can maybe collectively heal from this trauma that everyone's obviously going through and managing in their own ways. But no, we don't talk about that. What's mental health? What's feelings? We don't have feelings. We're tough and strong and we don't have to think about that and worry about that. And you're like, okay. Because that's what my parents did. My parents were like, no, we're quite open and we have no problem with like chatting and talking about feelings and life and expectations. But it's like, no, we don't do that. So then we've had to do that with our own family to be like, oh, well, we're going to be the generation. Again, you undo generational almost like curses and trauma and stuff like that, where it's like, okay, we didn't talk about this when I was a kid. And I think I really struggled then with emotional regulation as I got older. So I'm going to make a conscious effort to do it differently. Yeah, exactly. Like not even trauma, but just like certain topics where it's like, you know, there's certain things. It's almost like, you know, when you have conversations with adults or like when they talk about when you're making small talk with people and you're not supposed to talk about religion or politics or like, you know, there's certain taboo topics that are off limits. Like God forbid you talk about like sexuality or God forbid you talk about mental health or you talk about even like money, even something as simple as like finances. Sometimes that's not something that gets talked about. You just like, oh, the money comes and you spend it and that's fine. And like, don't worry about it. Don't ask questions. You know what I mean? Like just, yeah, it's almost like there's this like hierarchy and then there's gatekeeping with like, well, I am the person in charge of the household. So I make these decisions and we don't have to have a dialogue or a conversation about those decisions. You just have to respect and accept that I will make these decisions on the behalf of the family and you just have to accept them and that's just the way it is. And you're like, but what if that's problematic and I don't like it? Yeah. She was born in 84 and I was born in 98. Oh, the baby! Yeah, 84. That's wild. Hi, I'm your dad. Twitch dad. That's so funny to make I enjoy everything you say. You can, but I'll bother you regardless. I remember crying. She ignored a phone call one time. Wow. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So when you can't, yeah, absolutely. And what a heavy thing to have to hold on to. And half the time it's because you don't have a place to express that. So that's really good that she was finally able to sort of, it's almost like a cathartic emotional release, right? Like to finally be able to do that. And then, I don't know if like maybe it was you talking to her or someone else to talk to her and be like, you know, that's not your fault and you can't blame yourself because you didn't know. You know what I mean? And like all that kind of stuff. It's really, yeah. But good for her, you know what I mean? No, my dad's an overachiever. I was very religious with the family. Yeah, No taboo discussions though. Yeah. That's good though. That's good that they're open, but they have so it's like they're open but have high expectations, which is another interesting dynamic. So you can still have like no topic is off limits, but also like you better achieve, you know? Yeah, it was a moment for sure. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it was one of those where she probably really needed that. But that must be, like, an interesting thing for you to have that. And that's the other thing, too. That's one thing that I found very interesting as I've gotten older, is I've gotten to a point where, yeah, you can almost talk to your parents. At least, like, I can. Like, I don't know if everyone has this situation, but it's almost like you get to a certain age when you become, like, an established adult. And I'm sure as well when you have kids as well, you can sort of see your parents less as, like, parents and, like, less like a pedestaled, pedestaled, all-knowing, all-seeing creature. And you start to see them as a human who has flaws and who has baggage and who has insecurities. And you can sort of meet them in that sort of space to be like, oh, you're just trying to figure it out just like the rest of us, right? That's the one thing I've noticed is the older that I get, the more I'm like, there's no manual for any of this shit. We're all just doing the best with what we've got. And some of us are informed by different perspectives than others, and we're all just trying to figure it out, right? Some are doing it more successfully, quote unquote successfully, than others, but you can then sort of meet your parents in that way and see them as human. Because all the time, me and my mom, like, we have big old deep mental health discussions and stuff like that all the time, but obviously she wouldn't have been having those conversations with me when I was a child and couldn't, you know, I was busy sorting out my own shit. But now we're both adults, so we can have those kind of conversations. But I'm sure it's very interesting when that happens for the first time and you're like, whoa, you were carrying that, especially in this situation. You're like, wow, you've been carrying that basically my entire life. And so that's been informing maybe some of your decisions. Damn, you know? Yeah, for all their talk, I was very proud of him, Master Sergeant. Something amazing. But yeah. No, I think that's incredible. That's good. That's good that they're so supportive. Recently, are pretty intertwined. That's interesting. I don't know if I knew that. Rigorous rip. Yeah. Yeah, I guess so. I never really... Yeah, there are certain places that still have really strong... like, the culture is very tied to religion. It's easy, actually. I've not seen that movie in years, but that's one of my only really frame of reference points. You're back! Amazing! How was the school run? How was kiddo? How was his day? That's amazing. You haven't seen the movie in years. No problem with the rims. Ah! Awesome. Oh yeah, you also got your tires changed. Doy. Oh, they love the pink. Oh, I'm sure they did. I'm sure they were like, wow. That's amazing though. I'm glad there was no issues with them. Also got a cute watermelon. Ooh, cute. I like that. A watermelon cup key ring. This is why we're so split. Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah, my familial heritage, so the place that my great-grandparents immigrated from on my mom's side is Ukraine. So obviously I feel a very specific way about that situation. Okay, I got a cute Costa cup. Oh, amazing! No! Wow. 165. Damn. That's another thing. It's so funny, like, now that you mention it, is one of the things that I thought was very funny to me when I first moved here, that the UK spells tires with a Y. Because I've always seen tires spelled with an I. So when I first saw, I think I was driving by, like, a garage and it was, like, Mel's Tires. And I thought that that was just, like, a fun play on words for the name of the business. Like, oh, it's like maybe that's his last name and it's kind of a play on words because tires are a thing, but his is tie with a Y. tires or whatever. And then Liam was like, no, that's how we spell tires. And I was like, oh, I didn't know that. Oh yeah, vehicle? Vehicle. Vehicle? Now I'm like, oh, how do we? Yeah. Oh, 100%. Oh yeah, I can definitely see your proximity location to the situation. Yeah. Yeah. It's unfortunately doing things like sending, yeah, because it's the same thing that's happening even like with the US, right? Like they're showing their support and they're sending those sorts of things. Yeah. Oh yeah, vehicle instead of vehicle. Yeah, that's fair. That's true. That's funny. Yeah, vehicle as opposed to vehicle. The other one too that Liam always makes fun of me for is pronouncing yogurt. Because he calls it yogurt. He's like, oh, the yogurt. And I'm like, it's yogurt? And he goes, yogurt! That's what he thinks it sounds like. It sounds like he's like saying hello to a dude named Gert. So he's like, oh, it's yogurt. And I'm like, no, it's yogurt. So yeah, it's funny. Yeah, yogurt. Exactly. Yogurt. Not yogurt. But he finds that amusing. He also likes the word sneakers. Because obviously they're trainers here. And I remember the first time I was talking about, like, oh, I need to go buy some sneakers. And he was like, heh, sneakers. I'm like, yeah, for sneaking. We gotta sneak around these parts. But yeah, Prabhakar, what I was gonna say is it totally makes sense that it's like, yeah, if you are basically within nuke zone of Russia, you probably gotta be careful of what sort of international aid you send a country, because you don't want them to turn around and launch an attack at you. So I get that. That's complicated. Because I feel like every other day, Russia's threatening to, like, nuke the US and stuff like that. So it is a very real concern about how we do those things. You got kiddo new trainers for school. Oh, did you? Amazing. Came on that we have a communist party. Oh, okay. Civil War, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm sure that sounds like it would be quite a complicated, and again, it's all very nuanced. And I think that's the thing that, you know, sometimes gets missed with internet discussions and like sort of the Twitterification of news is everybody's very like it's almost like you get called out if you don't automatically double down, pick a side, right? Whereas a lot of situations are very complicated and very nuanced, but you only have like 180 characters on Twitter to like have a conversation. And then also too, it's like people, if you're less informed than somebody and you're like, I don't have enough information about all of the things that I don't really feel like I can make a statement or informed opinion on it, then people assume you're against them. It's like, oh, if you're not for us, you're against us. And I'm like, I don't even know what side I'm on because I don't have all the information. But the internet doesn't allow you to do that. They want you to pick a side and be very aggressively supportive of the side. And that's why it becomes really difficult when people are so like vehemently into a certain thing, and then maybe they get new information and their perspective changes, and then it's like they're a traitor, you know what I mean? It's like, oh my god, like, what do you mean? You thought this way, now you think this way, you're a hypocrite, and you never believed us, and like, screw you. And I'm like, no, I got different information. It's like science, right? You have a hypothesis. The hypothesis proves to be true. So you're like, okay, I'm gonna take that as the science. But then science changes. And then you get new information and you go, cool, this new thing has entered the chat. Let's do a new experiment. Oh, the outcome is now different because now we have different and new information. The science has now changed. And it's the same with a lot of stuff. So, yeah. Tamia's Kakura Sport. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, right? I respect that. I respect the desire to not be nuked. 100%. 100%. I'm pretty sure everybody would have a very similar stance. The desire to not. Absolutely. Well, it is now 6 o'clock, friends. So that means we have reached the end of the day. And it's been fun. I appreciate you guys all coming and hanging out. We finished the arm-ish. We filled in this part of the arm. So I'm going to call that a win. So we made some progress. And some progress, but then no progress. Is you how? Yeah, exactly. No, absolutely. I think that's fair. No, it's fine. I don't mind those things. I know that they can be sort of difficult and polarizing conversations, but like, I don't know. I think as long as they're tasteful and considerate discussions, I'm not concerned about it. So I don't worry about it. Yeah. Oh, definitely. I feel the same way. And I'm across the pond, but not as in close proximity. And yeah, definitely. Cool. So here is, let me see. Let's pop this over here. Hello! Hi, Aurora. We are just about to raid out. Look at this. Check this out. We finished an arm. Phantasma is waving. We are slowly bringing her to life. It's been a long time coming. I don't know. Are we going to work on this next week? I truly don't know. You know what it is? I don't know. We'll see. I got other stuff I want to do next week. But we'll see. Sorry, my brain just like short-circuited. Okay. I just want to see. I want to make sure I clock off all of the correct stuff. So we filled that in. Ooh. Filled this in. Got a few. It's true. You're like, gotta give him a little snacky snack. I appreciate that. Yeah, there's a few people that keep him fed, and I appreciate them. Is it this one? Okay, cool. I believe I have sufficiently caught this all up to date. Cool. So if anyone has any raid suggestions, let me know. If not, keep saying yeah. Yes, yeah, definitely. But yeah, so next week, the plan is to stream again, Tuesday, Thursday. Yeah, who can you recommend? A chill person. We love chill people. If you guys want, I will try to remember to post the schedule on Instagram. Is she streaming again? Is she online right now? Oh, guys. Oh, trust me, Nungde, we've been to Art and Jest, and it is chaos. It is chaos. Don't rate her husband as a tool. No, he's a 5 out of 10 on a good day. Yeah, no, guys, Art and Jest is incredible. It's absolutely chaotic. She's an artist that she swears does art on her channel. But I think sometimes there's just so much going on that I don't know if I've ever actually seen her doing art every time I raid into her, which is so funny to me. But yeah, I think we should go say hi. And also the first time I raided in, and it's actually really funny. So when we raided Satchel Max, I don't know if you guys, so one of the things that's really funny is it's always a risk when I raid new people that they'll mispronounce my stream name. So a lot of times people will call me, she's got a hype train right now. Oh, I'm sure she's absolutely livid. I'm sure she's so mad right now. She's so overwhelmed. I can't remember what I was saying. Oh yeah, so what'll happen is most people will look at my name and assume I'm nostalgia trash. So actually, Satchel Max actually pronounced my name properly, so that was pretty cool. It just makes me laugh when they do. So basically what had happened was I had rated Art Ingest, and she constantly, for like 5 minutes, referred to me as nostalgia trash, and then realized that that wasn't the name, and she was mortified. And it was the funniest situation ever, and it was so funny. It was so funny. Me and our another friend, another streamer, MakerBug, we were DMing each other back and forth, just like collectively cackling at the situation. But yeah, so I think we'll go and raid her. Yeah, so next week, yeah, definitely. Definitely. I do recommend. She's incredible. It's, yeah. If you want chaos and fun times with a side of art, she's your girl. So we'll go and do that. So next week, I feel like I forgot that I said I was going to test curling my hair for my reception in a couple weeks. So now I'm realizing that maybe we have to do like a get ready with me stream where I do my hair and makeup in anticipation of making sure I still know how to do those things for the reception. So that might happen in an actual stream. I'm still on the fence about it though, because I don't know how interesting that'll be for people, and if I probably should just try to do it myself. But then we're gonna bake. We're gonna do another baking stream. It's been a while. We're gonna make Earl Grey pie, which I'm super excited about. I still have to work out what the recipe is gonna look like. So yeah, I think a whole bunch of just random stuff is gonna happen next week. So keep your eyes peeled for that. Again, on my Instagram, I'll probably post the schedule. I'll try my best. If you're in the Discord, it will also go there. But yeah, let's go and raid Art and Jest. And I will see you guys next week, hopefully. I hope you have a fabulous weekend. Take care of yourselves. Stay hydrated. Hug your loved ones. I don't know. Live your best life. And I will see you later. Bye!
Thank you, Jay. Nostalgia Cash.